Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is finally time to get into the action here at Arisen Esports. Welcome to the last round. This decides so much, Hawk, and thank you for joining me as we head straight into the draft. We have AOE Randoms taking on Dignitas Mirage.
AOE Randoms versus Dignitas Mirage. It's a great matchup. It's a great day for some Risen Necrocs. Oh man, I'm so excited for this one. And as you said, this matchup matters so much as we move forward.
And of course, the Kazakhs, Darius, both taken away straight off the board. RMC wanted to see it played. We're not going to get it this time around. Nocturne, Jin Zhao, both two incredibly strong champions, along with a Gwen. Highest ban rate here in Risen so far, but that leaves one critical jungler available, of course, in a Diana.
Yep, Diana for Josie. Staple pick for this guy. We've seen Udyr, Diana, Rumble pretty much religiously from him so far throughout his time in the early Proving Ground circuit. And, you know, Diana coming out pretty much establishing himself as the highest tier champion out of those three that I just listed. Lots of jungle bans being focused to makes it make sense. But now, look at that. It's another response immediately with an aggressive champion in the Viego.
Viego, possible flex as well. Really strong solo lanes. Jungle, not so much anymore with the recent nerfs. Excuse me, better in the jungle now with the Q nerfs on the minion healing. So probably a response in the jungle unless they do want to keep it in either solo lanes. But now Dignitas Mirage probably going to pick something up for Cow here, I would imagine. The support matchup really important in today's games. Pockets versus Light Pulse. These two incredibly talented players. And I stand corrected. We're going straight for the support matchup. The Thresh, super high priority. Just go ahead and grab it.
Yeah, Dig looks like they want the Shadow Isles comp. They know it's good in Legends of Runeterra. They're going to pull it out in League of Legends here, too. And, of course, it makes a lot of sense, though. Getting Thresh super strong in the 2v2 against the likes of Short Hop and Pockets. We've seen how deadly this bot lane can be just last month in Cup. So, coming back here in Risen, they are the main carries for this team. And wanting Light Pulse on that strong carry definitely going to make a lot of sense. And to go to your point about the Viego potentially being in the jungle after the mini rework to its stats in the most recent patch, I think it would be a really interesting matchup into the Diana, being able to keep up with the 1v1 agency that champion can provide. But Necrocs, that's some poke.
That is a lot of range and a lot of flexibility. Not only do you have the possibility to put it top lane, but we know this one's probably headed mid for Comp 9, Leo 99. I mean, he played it last time. He was one of the main carries on this Jace in mid. Kalista pairs so beautifully with the Thresh. Not sure you want to have to deal with the range later on from AOE Random, so do have to be very careful about that. But it already looking like a very strong skirmish comp coming out from Dignitas Mirage, and from AOE Randoms, they want to stay as far away from possible Ezreal. Yes, Sunderer is nerfed for ranged champions, but still incredibly strong. Not going to see any less show today.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving the Kalista pickup. It's shown to be really strong on the couple recent patches. We've seen absolutely incredible pro and amateur performances from it, throughout North American League of Legends here. And it makes a lot of sense with this composition because it allows for your Thresh to play extremely aggressively. Meanwhile, you also have the Lantern to get your Kalista out of a sticky situation. It can follow up engage with the likes of this Viego trying to dive in onto that heavy poke composition that we just mentioned. AoE random seems like they want to move towards. Nico getting banned out. Very interesting one. Not, I would say, a super huge part of the meta, but I would not be surprised if that was a target ban straight towards DNA.
Yeah, just take it off the board. Comfort is so important, especially when you get to those clutch and critical moments. And this is a clutch match for both of these teams. This entire group, Hawk, is tied at 1-1. Yes, the standings may differentiate based on series and how they went, whether you get 2-1 or whatnot, but this entire group gets decided today, and where we go for quarterfinals. It's so important for these teams to just make critical decisions, and when that's on the line, you've got to take away the comfort. The Yasuo as well, going to be banned away. That's comfort in and of itself. I would have loved to see it. Sadly, it will not be allowed. AoE randoms with their final ban in the final phase here for game 1. Where do they decide to head is the question.
Yeah, I would expect another mid lane ban. I mean, it just makes the most sense. Try to keep DNA off balance, not really let him get a comfortable matchup there in the mid lane. And the Yasuo ban, I'm so disappointed. It would have been so spicy. We know Leo loves these sort of melee carries, and it makes a lot of sense as well, paired up with the Diana, giving you that physical damage to complement the magic damage. But that's a reworked Mundo. That's pretty hype on its own. CC immunity coming through. Just going to try to run down the poke of AoE randoms. It seemed like Dignitas Mirage knows what they want out of this draft. Nautilus in response could be a decent answer, however.
I'm getting TL flashbacks. No one's going to be able to kill this Mundo. You got almost no CC so far. Yes, you still have pockets. Probably going to lock in this Nautilus. So there's your CC right there on the front line. Depth charge plus that dredge line can do a lot to get rid of the Mundo passive in the later team fights. But with an Ezreal Jace, it's just going to be so difficult to burst him down. The Vayne was hovered. I would have loved to see it out of top lane. Probably not going to get it. Wukong seems more likely in this scenario. So we're going to get a very AD heavy team. Diana, of course, does make up for that in the jungle, but AoE randoms, they want to skirmish, they want to fight, and a lot of range on this composition built so far. Dignitas Mirage still using this final pick for their counter. Where do they want to go, though? And it'll be the Victor, a control mage, a safe lane in mid.
That actually is a surprising pick to me. I was just about to mention that the Viego and the Mundo were still sort of flex picks in and of themselves. I feel like you almost could have sent the Viego mid lane against this Jace, try to survive the poke matchup, maybe get a more favorable matchup on either the jungle or the top side, because Mundo not really going to have a good time against this Wukong, but regardless, they do take that safe lane in the Victor, try to just farm it out against this Jace. However, that gives a lot of agency over to AoE randoms, they should have this hard-winning mid lane Jace into Victor, just going to have a lot of agency. And with the potential for Nautilus to roam Ezreal super self-sufficient down in that bot lane, I actually think that gives AoE randoms a win condition to really open up and, as you said, skirmish, press the advantage in the mid game before Dignitas can just sort of deathball over them.
I like that point because that's exactly where I want to head, is straight down to this bot lane. Now that the compositions are completed, Short Hop and Pockets obviously are the two members that you have to look at for AoE randoms. Short Hop is an incredible marksman, especially on these hyper mobile ones like Kai'Sa, like the Ezreal. They are really, really in his wheelhouse. Dignitas Mirage, they're going for a heavy all-in bot lane. But just as you said, Ezreal doesn't need his handheld in bot lane. The Thresh, the moment the hook comes out, as long as you're not in flare range, you just arcane shift out and then continue to farm with Qs until your arcane is back off cooldown. I would expect Dignitas to try to head down bot lane with a lot of pressure, maybe even get a top lane TP for a dive. Mundo doesn't really care all too much about his farm in the early game. Viego, pretty good at those early game dives as well. Does like the farm, though, indeed. And if Pockets is moving across the map, if he wants to engage, he is the main shot caller for AoER. I'd love to see him go mid, go top, help the jungle out even, and really get involved early on.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually think it's interesting, too, because you mentioned how it makes sense that Dignitas, to try to punish potential Nautilus roams, right? The natural response is to go bot lane and punish Short Hop. But as you just mentioned, Short Hop is absolutely cracked. This guy is so good at AD carry. He reached rank 15 in Challenger a few weeks ago. I don't know where he's at right now, but he's still extremely high ranked. And this composition, as we already mentioned, sort of lacks range. I mean, Victor, Viego, they can run down to the bottom side, but where's your hard engage in that comp? Are you going to ult your Thresh in? Then you don't have anyone to drop tower aggro. It just gets really spicy, and what if you get counter TP'd on by the likes of this Wukong, by the likes of this Jace? That's suddenly not a fight that you're going to win, so Dignitas in this early to mid game is going to have to play extremely conservatively around summoner spell cooldowns, because this AoE randoms composition, if they catch you out in a skirmish in any sort of big old team fight here in the first 10 minutes of the game, I think it's going to be an easy win for them. So Dignitas going to need to be on top of macro, but as we've already mentioned, they've got a lot of deathball tools. Mundo gonna be unkillable, so if they do manage to play around that correctly, AoE is going to have a tough time getting back in this one.
Yeah, that's the exact right way. This Mundo, it's honestly a win condition. There's not a lot of consistent damage. Yes, you have the Ezreal poke, which is semi-consistent. You have Wukong, who can use his combo off rotation. I'm not sure it's enough, though. In all honesty, he's going to be stacking armor. Doesn't really care about Josie's big wombo combo with a Moonfall. As long as he survives the initial burst, he should be fine to use the ulti heal all the way back up and continue to be the frontline menace. The biggest question is, do they decide to punish Dragoon on top side? You have Chim on the Wukong. He's really, really good at this champion. Josie is going to be a big factor here for AoE randoms. His pathing is going to be really important to watch Hawk as we start this game off, because he could go top lane made an impact, or set this Kalista behind, provide a lot of pressure in the 2v2 with pockets clean engage onto the Thresh counter with the Nautilus, and even that could get this 2v2 behind. So I'm looking at AoE randoms. They have a lot of options here. I'm curious, though, your thoughts. Where are we getting from Dignitas Mirage? It feels like their composition is designed to play back in a sense, but they still have skirmish heavy jungle and bot side.
Yeah, they have a skirmish-heavy jungle and bot side for sure, and I think it really just comes down to, I think Cyber needs to punish Josie in the farm game, because there is so much solo lane agency for Josie. I actually think it's going to be incredibly difficult for this bot lane to make plays out of Dignitas in the early game, despite having that extremely strong 2v2. But that doesn't mean that you can't leverage the pressure in other ways. Viego has absurd neutral objective pressure. His invade's also very strong. He's got the stealth. He's got the incredible dueling potential, especially against the likes of Diana. That is likewise strong duelist, but you know, you just can't get past the healing of the Viego. So if Cyber is able to track Josie effectively and look to punish wherever Josie's going, that's going to be Dignitas' main way through the early game. Because as I've already mentioned, I just think the skirmish potential, the solo lane pressure that AoE randoms is going to have is far too great. So you need to look at this guy to help secure farm advantages, to bridge your team into the mid game. Not let AoE randoms force an early Dragon Soul. Not let AoE randoms just take every objective and kill off the map and leave you farming for scraps.
And that's exactly where I want to go as well with this last point before we get loaded up onto Summoner's Rift. The solo lane's going to matter so much, but mid lane in particular, I think, can dictate the pace of the entire Rift. Of course, having priority can help your jungler move to a Crab, move to that Drake, move to Rift Herald, whatever it may be. And DNA had counterpick here. He had the R5. He was sacrificed this late pick in draft, and instead of going for something that can beat the Jason lane, sort of really set Leo behind on this early game bruiser, instead he goes for the Victor. He wants the control mage. He wants that late game scaling. DNA, of course, very good on that style of champion. But Leo, we've seen him dominate early games on Jace. Unluckily, didn't exactly pull out the win against the AoE title roster, but certainly looked very good. And DNA is up to that task. He's going to have to match this pressure.
Yeah, and I do think if you were going to point to one inconsistency on AoE randoms, it could be Leo there in the mid lane. We've seen him take over games, and we've seen him get destroyed. In their match against Zeus and Challengers Uprising, Leo really did not have a good time in the mid lane, getting beaten on both sides of a Lucian-Tristana matchup. You know, not a great look, right? So maybe DNA, even without getting a hard counter pick, but more of a control pick, will be able to dictate pressure and help Cyber alleviate that solo lane pressure that I said random should have, but I do think it is a tall task. Frankly, not a fan of the passive Victor pick into the Jace, but you know what? There's no change in that now. It all comes down to execution. Can DNA bridge it? I think that's a great question, and I honestly don't know the answer.
AOER, the ball is in your court. Dignitas Mirage looking to break the deadlock here in this group. Everyone tied up at 1-1, looking to punch their ticket into playoffs. We'll be right back after a quick break at the top of your screen after spectator delay ticks on down. We'll load up under Summoner's Rift and hit you with our first game. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the Rift and ready to go for AOE randoms, taking on Dignitas, Mirage, and Risen last round, looking to make their way into playoffs. Both these teams are, as we get ready for our first game of the night.
Ready for our first game of the night, indeed. And we were talking about it in between the games, Necrox. These teams have so much skirmish. These drafts are just extremely exciting. I think it should be a very explosive game, and we're ready for it.
I want blood. This is like the way I love to see League of Legends go out. I don't want to see any of this fight for third Drake 0-0 on the kill squad. No. Every single objective, every single camp, skirmish, fight, and I love to see what AOE and Dignitas Mirage have brought out. It is a Callista bot lane with the Ignite, Exhaust, Halo Blades as well. Going to be super useful and stacking up those Rens nice and early. Leo getting the Jace as well. Chim on his Wukong. So much skirmish potential all across the board. Though we do have to take a moment to look at this pathing because Dragoon will be heading up a leash for Cyber as he paths down bot side for this 2v2.
Yeah, speaking of Dragoon, that is an Exhaust Teleport Mundo. That, you know what? That makes a lot of sense to me because, like I was saying in draft, Wukong pretty effectively beats Mundo. He just has more damage in the early game, more wave control. You know, the ability to trade with the clone as well just means that Mundo's not going to have a good time, but the Exhaust to negate a lot of that burst damage that can come through from this Wukong makes a lot of sense, and it's not like you really need Flash anyway. You're just going to become unkillable and try to run down the Ezreal in the late game, so who knows? Maybe it'll work out for a Dragoon, and regardless, heavy trading in the bot lane.
2v2 Light Pulse ignited, going so low, but there's no follow-up just quite yet. But this is what Short Hop and Pockets do, man. You give them a 2v2, they'll win the 2v2. It doesn't matter that you're the Callista and Thresh. Ignite used, though. And now Mundo taking that Exhaust as well, to your point. Hawk, I think it's summed up best. Mundo just goes where he pleases. It doesn't matter if he has Flash. Leo trading aggressively in mid lane as well against DNA, who has opted for that Electrocute into this matchup. He's trying to get a little bit more out of his laning phase as well, but shouldn't be all too worrisome for the side of AOE for now, as Short Hop and Pockets looking for another play. Josie's arriving. Flash doesn't get him away from the hook. First blood to Josie, making an impact in the bot lane. AOER grab there first.
Oh man, lollipop. That Nautilus hook, even after the Flash, getting the Thresh. First blood going to the Diana. We said that Josie needs to be the X factor in this early game, and look at that 400 gold into his back pocket. Man, what a good start. I was just about to say, all that trading in the bot lane going the way of AoE randoms early is concerning for this Thresh Callista lane, despite them, you know, they didn't have their level 2 power spike when they went in. They took so much damage, had to use all their potions, chunked to half HP, incredible punish coming out from Josie, not even worried about his topside camps, and that is an 800 gold lead for the randoms.
That is how you prove yourself in Risen, man. Make the 2v2 look good, call down your jungler, get a summoner advantage, and then punish. Both flashes now off the Dignitas Mirage bot lane, which means this could be a repeat target for Josie if he does want to continue down. But now, Pockets wants a roam into mid lane. TP going to be used by Leo just to catch these minions. Pockets thinking about doing something, but DNA probably going to take a base of his own and TP right back.
Yeah, just so much pressure going in the way of randoms. Pockets gets a favorable back, gets those brown bag boots on early, able to roam into the mid lane. Meanwhile, you know, Light Pulse, he's got to walk back down to his bottom lane to protect his AD carry. No flash up, doesn't want to risk Nautilus just going straight back to the bot lane and getting hooked, so they get to take early vision control in the river. Look at that. Control ward in the Pixel Brush already coming out. You love to see it from AoE randoms. This early game control already coming through, and no side lane flashes makes this game extremely dangerous for the next 5 minutes for the side of Dignitas.
Love to see it. Cyber down here as well, just to hover his bot lane, clear out his bot side. Quick mention, he did try to double scuttle, did not work out really at all. Jizzy gonna be able to stop that one. He's picked up a Darkseal for himself as well, so really indexing in this early game, expecting to get quite a bit of gold index. Cyber down here, maybe thinking about a dive. Josie isn't too far away, but is not easy to dive the Ezreal. Still has both summoners available. They'll have to play this one perfectly if they want it, but they're spotted on ward, and Josie's on his way.
This is aggressive positioning. I don't think you win this. Pockets is gonna face check.
Hook in. Pockets deleted immediately. Here comes the resets. Does have the Nautilus hook in, but Pockets going a little bit too far forward there. Gets caught out.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Bacchus. He wants to just see who's over there, try to pull some aggression, but surprise, it was actually everybody, just gets one shot. Viego Callista, still a lot of damage, and Thresh with the CC follow-up as well means you're definitely not getting away from that one. So it is a kill traded back, going into the back pocket of Cow. So it is, you know, AD carry coming online. This Callista getting what she needs potentially to try to carry over the early to mid game for the side of Dignitas. So good play and no punish from AOE.
AOE not able to find anything off the back end. Josie was hovering, but of course Bacchus going too far too early. Means there's nothing in return for the side of AOE randoms, and this is what we expected. Lots of skirmishing in the early game, whether it's heavy trading on top side alone or junglers getting involved, supports roaming, whatever it may be. These two teams always willing to throw down and fight as they go for another one in mid lane. DNA has the flash, but a nice gravity well will find a double stun, plus the Chaos Storm. Too much damage to return. Leo flashing forward with the shock blast. Won't be able to find it though. 5-minute cooldown burned. No solo kill to be found.
Yeah, nice gravity field gets DNA away from the initial play. I almost wonder if Leo just went for the flash play before he got stunned by the gravity field, if he could have at least traded flash with this opposite number. I think he knew he wasn't going to get the kill, but he wanted to try to force flash to allow for the regank from Josie when the ultimate does become available here in the next minute or so. But regardless, not going to find anything. However, might force it now.
DNA still has flash. The man is a psycho. He doesn't ever use it. Man, this guy's got his dancing shoes on tonight. He's keeping that cooldown, and Leo barely not able to find the kill.
Wow, DNA. I mean, you know, I respect that. I would have flashed. I think most of us would have flashed Necrox, but he holds onto it, does get forced off the lane, so, you know, still not ideal. No teleport to get back either, but that is a massive advantage in the mid lane, being able to retain that, because Victor can become so vulnerable trying to push up these waves with the upgraded Death Ray, not having flash available, and now look at that. Josie does have that ultimate online on this Diana, so the regank potential was so high, but retaining the flash means he's still safe to farm up evenly in the mid lane, and with gold being equalized after what looked like an insanely, almost damning advantage from AOE with that early bot side gank, it looked like Josie was going to take over the game. Suddenly back to even with some nice moves from the side of Dignitas Mirage.
Straight back to a deadlock as the rest of this group is finding themselves completely even as well. For now, first strike still available for both these teams. No one really making an aggressive move for it. Maybe Dignitas Mirage was thinking about it, but with DNA getting chunked out in mid, barely keeping himself alive, they do not have the priority to move to it. So instead, it will stay on the map for a little bit. Mountain, Drake could be on the board. Josie thinking about doing something here. Paka's doing his best to clear out some vision on the bot side as well. Should not be able to find anything. Both flashes back up. Instead, Josie will just head up towards the river. A nice passage will get Cow to safety.
Paka's just throwing that one out. You know, I respect it. Not too much burn. It's just going to be a Herald for a Dragon trade, it looks like, which generally First Herald is preferred over the side of First Dragon for the immediate gold that it does provide, especially against the likes of an early game composition like AOE randoms. However, it is worth noting that a potential soul win condition could come online earlier for randoms. We've mentioned they've got the more mid-game focused team, so they're able to pick up that soul. That could be what they need to help win in the late game, but Cow getting aggressive. He doesn't have anyone to support.
Yeah, flash away though will mean 5 minutes again off of Cow. He just gets caught out by the hook. Ignite is used by Pacus, but that cooldown is always worth a trade. So Callista without flash means Callista can't play as aggressively, and especially with Josie sort of splitting this map for now, opting for that Drake take. A lot of pressure going to be on him, though Josie headed straight back up towards the top side. Pacus going to channel his recall, which means Cow can push in this wave with complete safety. Cyber doing as much to take away from Josie on this top side as well, but Josie keeping himself ahead in farm. But you can say the same about Dragoon with this Mundo, man. Sure, you grab the Executioners, the Grievous Wounds on Chim's
Cyber.
Wukong. Josie caught out though. Here we go. Heartbreaker immediately flash away. Cyber has a flash of his own. The Blade of the Ruin King finishes him off, and here comes the resets. There's the Cyclone gonna knock up Cyber, but the rest of the team's arriving. It does not matter. Exhaust gonna go down to Chim. Has no clone, but he has the Cyclone instead. TP? Here comes the Chaos Storm. It's not the right target for now. Instead, TP is gonna be the problem. Leo showing up to the fight, but he's showing up by himself, and the only way home is in a body bag, as Light Pulse was here just in case things went awry. And Dignitas Mirage find two.
And there's the 1v1 prowess of the Viego on display. Cyber finds Josie in the jungle. Crescent Strike goes wide and just jumps straight on him. Doesn't matter that he's got a blast cone. Doesn't matter that he's got a flash. Cyber playing extremely well, and then Leo tried to TP in, but just gets one shot right on the edge of tower range and taken down as well. And I was just about to compliment randoms. They got a more favorable reset off after the Dragon play. Pockessing his reset with his jungler. I thought they were going to move down to the bottom side, try to establish more vision control in the river, but instead, it's just Cyber actually sticking around on the map and finding out Josie and creating a massive advantage for himself, picking up 2 kills. Sunderer online. This guy is scary now, able to hand off the blue buff to his mid laner to boot. And Dignitas now, with what we've said is probably a harder scaling team, they're up 1,000 gold.
And all in the hands of Cyber as well. That's exactly where you want it on your early game jungler. You wanted to talk about the skirmishing that Dignitas Mirage brought to the table. That's what they can do. Dragoon, just as I was about to mention, he's doing pretty well for himself on this top side. There's the engage onto the bot side. And yeah, that's just a dead AD carry, no flash away, and Cal is sentenced to death as he finds himself headed straight back to the gray screen.
Yeah, Cal taking the dark passage back to the gray screen, as you said right there. There's no way out of that one, no flash, and fat old Nautilus sitting on the W right there means that there's no way in hell you're ever going to be able to click that one. So nice response there from Josie, not going to let Dignitas take everything, but gold going to be equalized. 3 plates off the mid lane, that's worth it for a kill. And although Leo, going to be able to pick up the rest of the farm, not going to lose his life in the process, that is a pretty solid Herald summoning, knocking this tower down, very low here at the 12-minute mark. But for every, Newton's first law of League of Legends, right? For every reaction, there is an equal and opposite one, every force. So, I don't know, I'm not a scientist, but anyway, short hop gonna take plates there on the bottom side as well.
I don't know, man. Something about when you push, you shove, or don't go too aggressive in bot lane, or your jungler comes down because that's Murphy's Law. Something along those lines. Dignitas Mirage, though, of course, trading back pretty well. And if you think about it mathematically, not too bad at all for themselves. Really getting a lot of gold in the pockets of Cyber, especially now. Already has that completed Thunder, as you mentioned, plus the steel caps. So this fight could be troublesome. We already talked about the lack of diverse damage for AOE randoms. Only Josie that's bringing magic damage to these team fights. And if he's not hitting Cyber, it's only physical going to be hitting him. And Drake is up in just a minute. He's the only one with a completed mythic, other than Dragoon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any way you win this fight if you're AOE randoms right now. You don't have teleport on your Wukong. He's probably your most impactful team fighter right now outside of the Diana. They are going to try to attempt on a DNA, but he's got the flash.
DNA, flash forward, flash away, doesn't get him to safety, but a nice passage. Here comes the box as well. Josie finds a 3-man moonfall. Traded back 1-for-1, though. What does the rest of the team fight look like? Light Pulse ends up trading it back. Pockets uses a knockup, but for what cost? He loses his life regardless. Cyber on a killing spree. He wants his queen, and he'll grab a kill for it.
Yeah, DNA, man. The dancing shoes on this guy. He ends up getting hooked, but another amazing gravity well to lock up the Diana, and the Nautilus gets Lantern back out to safety by Light Pulse, and although they do end up getting the kill, it meant it was an overcommit there from Josie, and Pockets trying to secure that one. And although Leo will be able to hang on to the mid lane turret, it is a 2-for-1, and Short Hop is all alone, having to flash out in the bottom side as well. And look at Dragoon just chunking Chimichanga with the Qs there.
In the blink of an eye, Dignitas Mirage have commanded this early game. After a nice start for AOE randoms, they sort of begun to teeter off a little bit here as we head into the mid game, and it's all about Cyber on this. Viego now secures Drake for the likes of Dignitas Mirage. Already has that Sunderer, and with that extra gold, he decides to pick up a Negatron cloak. Interesting selection, headed maybe towards some extra defensive stats. And here we go. Mythics are now coming online. Shield Bow for the likes of Cow Sunder, of course. For Short Hop, you got Eclipse in for Leo for a little bit of extra early game dueling potential, and Josie with that Gnasher's Tooth, weaving those auto attacks in between spells really gets the long-lasting damage start to burn.
Yeah, but I think it's worth noting that this is not even where the game starts to get hard for the side of AOE randoms, because they've already been struggling to find the fights that, in my opinion, they should have been able to find with so many flashes not being available in all lanes from Dignitas for a better portion of this early game. But now as these towers getting low, especially with the swap on the close up to the top side. They're going to be able to knock down this top turret most likely. Mid tower extremely low, so as they're able to start denying control over the river and moving their vision line into AoE Random's jungle, this 3-0-2 Viego Cyber going to start being able to pick and choose his fights even more liberally. And I said in draft that the 1v1 potential of this Viego is absolutely massive, and I was intrigued to see how this matchup went. And I mean, he's exceeded expectations. He's absolutely demolished Josie so far, and it's showing.
Keep it up in farm, but yeah, it's all about Cyber for Dignitas Mirage. 3 kills though to Josie means they're relatively even in gold. The difference is all the playmaking has come from Cyber, and now that they've rotated bot lane up to this top side, yes, AoE Randoms tried to match that with the Ezreal with the Nautilus. It doesn't matter. Klister's always going to have push on the Ezreal, so the Rift Herald will always be going to Dignitas Mirage. They even get mid-tier 1 without having to use that, so now they can rotate wherever they want, whether it is top side, bot side, regardless. They have a second Herald to get even more map pressure as Chim opens up bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, this bot tower is going to be free as soon as they walk Herald down there. And now, you know, as soon as that's gone, all 3 outer turrets not being available means that it's just what I talked about. You get to move your vision line in. You get to start picking and choosing your fights even more effectively. And they've already started denying the soul stacking win condition, potential win condition, with it being Infernal Soul for the side of AoE Randoms. It's now just 1-to-1 in Dragons as these fights are going to start to get harder. Mundo, he's got an item and a half. You know, Ninja Tabbies, or excuse me, plated steel caps now with the Frostfire Gauntlet just going to be so hard to kill. And Chimichanga not really had the time in this lane that I would have expected. Getting pushed in a majority of the time, still winning in these trades, but just does not have the sustain, and that Q damage from Dragoon means that you're just getting poked out the whole time.
It hurts, man. That Mundo does not mess around. Here's a Cyclone. Remember, the first one won't knock him up, but this is dead regardless. Exhaust doesn't matter all too much. Maybe he gets one in return, but no, Dragoon will fall. There was no flash to escape the play. Exhaust was the best he could do. That's a first death of the Mundo, and he'll have to go back straight to the fountain.
Yeah, excellent response there from AoE Randoms. They knew the top tower was just going to die anyway. If anywhere, basically, that Cyber goes, Dignitas is stronger. They are going to summon a Herald here on the top side to try to extend for 2, but teleport's available on Chimichanga. No ultimate on Diana Wukong, however. This could be very dangerous. I think AoE Randoms actually coming out ahead on this play to what was already going to be an advantageous play on the top side. Being able to turn a kill on the bottom means a lot.
Yeah, and especially AoE Randoms at that deficit, making a heads-up play on bot side. That'll feel good, getting the wave in a good spot as well. Yeah, Herald doesn't even get the tier 2 in the top lane, so that Herald isn't the most effective use. Minute now on this Drake, Hawk, and both these teams tied up at 1 Drake for now, so win condition really isn't something we get to talk about just quite yet, but this would be a step towards it for either of these two teams, and so far it looks like AoE Randoms are interested in a fight.
Yeah, definitely going to be interested. However, it's worth noting, Dignitas Mirage, they're going to have priority over this mid wave. As you see, DNA already there to push it up. Josie is trying to retain some semblance of river control, but it's going to quickly be taken away, I'd have to imagine, by Light Pulse as they walk in. But it's worth noting, with Herald being down, that was free bot lane pressure you had to force a turret trade for a potential dragon fight, something that you would force AoE Randoms to respond to. So although they wanted to extend on the top side, I honestly think that was a macro misplay by Dignitas right there, and kind of allowing AoE Randoms a door into this mid game. Leo has teleport available. They're going to try to collapse on the mid lane here. Josie could be caught out.
Josie having to use the flash, but gets away from the Chaos Storm, so that Victor ulti no longer available. Summoner traded for ult cooldown. AoE Randoms won't be too sad about that one, but Josie, that's a massive tool to find a way into the team fight. Leo's still split pushing on the top side for now. Finally, Dragoon will come to match, but AoE Randoms maybe didn't want to fight this one after all. Dignitas Mirage, free dragon to them. That's number 2. Does Leo get this turret? Yes, he does. So overall, not too bad for the Randoms as they trade across the map.
Yeah, Randoms, I feel like, actually just got away with murder in this mid-game. It all starts with the Herald being someone on the top side, sacrificing wave pressure for a potential dragon fight. And although Dignitas, as I mentioned, they had the early setup over the dragon, they had reset sooner on the play by about 15 seconds, meant that AoE Randoms not really able to phase check into the fight. And with Josie getting chunked out in the mid lane, forced to flash, they know they're not going to go for that one, but they just got everything in the side lanes. It was a lot of golden XP denied there in top lane. 2-3 waves, they get a turret for themselves solo into Leo's back pocket. Chimichanga Jungle was likewise farming bot lane. They had Short Hop picking up the minions mid, so they get all of the golden experience onto their multiple carries. They get mid priority here on the delayed reset as Dignitas goes bot. So although they gave up a dragon, it's only Dignitas' second one, and the golden experience, we were at about 2,500, 3,000 gold deficit for AOE. Now it's about 1,500. So I have to say, I feel like AOE managed that last sequence better than their opposition.
I like to see it, and especially the ramifications of pushing that top side alone. Look at the vision control that AoE have begun to set up around or ahead of the Baron. 3 wards placed in a triangle there. That's always what you love to see, plus the mid-wave pressure. Not quite able to knock down the mid-tier 1 because Dignitas Mirage understood, hey, if we give this one up, we're going to give way too much topside pressure to the likes of AoE. But instead, they get vision control in the jungle. They now own this area and own the river. There's only 1 soul ward for Dignitas Mirage in that middle brush. Finally, now they'll go get a chance to clear it out. But this is where things become pretty scary for Dignitas Mirage. Now they are the ones that have to step into darkness. They're the ones that have to begin to look to make plays without the vision setup. Now they'll be able to clear things out. There's still those 2 wards behind, and a flank TP from Chim could be really, really dangerous.
Yeah, definitely could be dangerous, but it's worth noting, Dignitas is still ahead in this game. They have the priority in their lanes, and their Baron threat is massive. Viego Callista, I mean, that's nothing to sneeze at. That is an insanely quick Baron and very strong secure, but it does mean Chim gets the isolated time there in the bottom lane. A little bit awkward, the double sweeper, it happens to the best of us. You're walking with your support, trying to clear out vision. Oh, I got these wards. Other guy thinks he's got them. Waste them both, but it's all right. Dignitas still going to have control over this river, and AoE Random's going to have to be diligent on checking this due to the aforementioned Baron threat.
Yeah, and Dignitas Mirage now, all that vision control I was just talking about, completely wiped out. Still those 2 flank wards, but it doesn't matter. That's not the vision that they have. This is what matters, the actual vision on Baron. Still, but it feels like AoE know this one started up. There's a flank TP in red buff. It's despawning in about 5 seconds. It depends on if... I want to see if Chim takes it. Here comes the fight. I cannot see anything that is going on. Finally, maybe I'll get vision on it, but I am so sorry. I cannot see what's going on. The camera has crashed.
All right, well, no worries. It is going to be a 3-for-0 in favor of Dignitas Mirage. They're going to take the Baron on the backside. Can Leo and Short Hop deny this one? Baron down to 8,000, but it looks like Short Hop just going to go in the mid lane and get the consolation prize of mid lane tier 1. It was a decisive fight from Dignitas. The peel off the Baron was sublime. The face check in the front line simply not there from the side of AoE Randoms. Josie getting taken down almost instantly along with the support Pacus, and Chim with the delayed TP. As soon as he arrives, the fight's already over. And I want to give a huge shout out to the man on your screen just there, DNA, piloting this Victor like an absolute madman. The gravity field taking over the fight with the Chaos Storm doing the damage over the top. I appreciate you, Hawk. We're back now, up and ready. I apologize for the little technological issue. Of course, it had to happen at the worst time possible, but Dignitas Mirage, with that control, with that stability that they had in the river, are able to take their fight, able to take their win, and now with Baron, Dignitas own Summoner's Rift. Everything should belong to them. Already outer drops, so now looking to claim inners. Extra gold on these inners as well with 11-3, so really going to start inflating the gold at this point. AoE Randoms now have to hold on, but the wave clear just isn't all that good. You have a couple Mystic shots coming in from Short Hop plus Leo with some Shock Blast, but outside of that, Dignitas Mirage can really start laying on the hurt as soon as they want to. Yeah, the wave clear definitely not the best for AoE Randoms. I mean, they've got Diana Q, they've got Jace Q, but not going to do a whole lot to these Baron buff minions. It's worth noting that Dignitas' siege composition is also pretty terrible. They have a bunch of melees with the Callista. Victor's pretty good at it, but nobody else really. So it will be a little difficult to knock down these towers, but the Baron buff minions will slowly do the damage. However, Leo, left unchecked in the side lane, does allow for the potential of a counter dive here on the bottom side for Dignitas should they choose to take it. Chim down to half HP, gonna get rended, but just going to walk away. Leo doing God's work up here on top side. 600 gold. All that local gold now funneled into him. Maybe looking, but shouldn't be able to get it. Callista's really hard to nail down, and instead, Dignitas Mirage will pull back away. Oh, whoa, true shot. Mirage steals Dragon away, and just like that, that's no longer a win condition. You have to wait so much longer. Here comes the Baron Siege, though. This is Dignitas Mirage's time to strike. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge Dragon Steal. Okay, they get the top bot lane tier 2, but Leo got top lane tier 2. They sacrificed that tower for the dragon, and so it's again AOE Random somehow coming out with an advantage. We've yet to really seen them do anything with the pressure that they've been able to gain so far this game, but maybe, just maybe, these are the small plays that they need to keep fighting back. As I said, it's just short hop diff. He steals the dragon. He could even steal the game. Only sitting at 0-0-2, but this guy is strong, and I want to give a shout out to Cow. He's definitely played very well, but you cannot count out the 80 carry for AOE Random. The Shonen anime arc for Karasuno Setter is here. Can he put the team on his back as the Baron buff probably going to be expiring fairly soon here for the side of Dignitas?
Gonna need to be able to do something in this. Baron, yes, expired, but now that is everything gone other than the base for AOE Randoms. They have just the base left before, and that one extra little bit of protection in mid lane, but one more team fight gone wrong, and Dignitas Mirage can march down one of these side lanes and end this game outright. Yeah. AOE Random's really lucky, to be honest, to still be in this in terms of dragons, but Dignitas and Mirage still own the gold lead. They still own the vision control, and they still have priority over just about everything. AOE Randoms now need to start getting creative, but their composition wasn't built like this. Here comes Cyber in bot lane with that Sunder doing a lot of extra damage. Challengix might as well burning Chim low, but he just doesn't have enough to get through all of that health and armor that Chim has built up.
Yeah, and for so much of the early to mid game, a lot of Dignitas' advantages actually came off of punishing AoE mistakes. And the first time we really saw Dignitas start pressing their own tempo was around that Baron, where they got a decisive 3-for-0 team fight that unfortunately Necrox couldn't see, but and then also got the Baron on the back foot, right? So, I mean, the one time they really decided to put their foot on the gas pedal, they got a massive advantage, the biggest one we've seen of the entire game. So should they decide to do that again, as Leo's
looking for the 1v1, but the shield bow gonna keep Cow alive for now. Flash away from Leo, but he's getting to the wave. Level up gives a little bit more health. Fate's Call, though, will find the mark. Flay into the Rend as Cow picks up one more. Leo will drop, which means map priority for the next 40 seconds for Dignitas Mirage.
Yeah, map priority definitely coming online. That's your primary wave clear right there, especially against non-Baron minions. JSQ doing so much damage, so they should be able to push up these lanes, start taking control over this Baron area. You put your wards down now, reset with around a minute left. Those wards will still be available, so you can fight to retain your vision control and shroud the Baron in darkness here if you're Dignitas. So I'd expect them to have recalls coming through here in the next few seconds. Look at that. Victor, Thresh, Viego, Callista, all of them going to start channeling it, and the Baron dance can begin. Leo did almost one-shot Cal through exhaust there, so that guy's definitely still strong. He's got 3.5 items, but not strong enough to do it.
Through exhaust and through shield bow as well. Like that that is not easy to do. And Leia with so much lethality built in now. That one's really gonna hurt if he finds the right targets.
That's a lot of damage.
that is a whole hell of a lot of damage. Hey, look, I saw Callista in about 0.3 seconds. Chim gonna walk away from Dragoon, who has now completed his Warmogs and Randuin, so he is incredibly hard to kill from the poke. Josie does have a stopwatch if he wants to find it, not barely getting away from the likes. Here comes a TP flank. Chim has found an angle onto DNA. Here comes a Cyclone. True Shot Barrage going to tag him up as well. Going golden, buying a little bit more time. Chaos Storm isn't finding much done, but Leia will completely finish him off. Now Paucus maybe looking for more. Remember, he's a shot caller. He's the one to pull the trigger on the engage. Dragoon going to keep himself alive, but not for not too long. He will fall eventually. And there we go. The fight's going to break out now. The box is going to buy a little bit more time, but there they go. Light Pulse grabbing 1, 3 for 1. Make it 2. The rest of the fight still gonna happen now as Cal's gonna grab one into pockets. Leo barely gonna keep himself alive, but Light Pulse has been left to die. Cal cannot help his team, and AOE Randoms in mid lane will win their fight, will finally get the angle they wanted, and you know what time it is. It's time straight for the Baron.
It's Baron time, just as you said, Necrox, and if you're an AOE fan, that's a TP flank you were waiting for. Chim finally making his mark on this game and able to find out the man who has had the godlike positioning the whole game. DNA gets taken down. It doesn't matter that he does so much damage because nobody was there to help him, and that Mundo might have been unkillable as TP actually going to come in. The fight getting extended. DNA.
Cow is just one shot, but they return it right back onto short hop. DNA will fall, no problem. Josie will clean it up, but Dignitas Mirage tried to find something off the back and they get one Baron, but it's for an ace, and without your mid lane or AD carry, guess what time it is? Again, to the Dragon AOE go. They want this third Drake for themselves. Should be no problem getting it. Cyber is around in the area, but there's no way in. Will only secure the blue buff for himself. And Dignitas Mirage slip up once, and AOE randoms punish hard.
Yeah, and Necrox, I love how in the middle of that team fight, you gave a shout out to Pacus for being the shot caller on this team. He most likely called the TP from Chim, and then the focus from AOE in that fight was
so
just
good.
Immaculate. They take down the Victor, and then the chase onto the Mundo, not looking so tanky when he's getting focus fired by all 5 members. Then the team fight starts to break down. Josie says he's got the Viego with the support help. They're able to take him down. Meanwhile, the carries for the side of AOE just going to dive onto the bot lane of Dignitas, and they get everyone. They're gonna get Soul Point as well, so now that Dragon win condition that we were talking about 25 minutes ago is just one step away, and although Dignitas retains a gold lead, the pressure lead with the purple in hand going to go the way of AOE for the foreseeable future.
And it's so crazy to think about that AOE are the team that really now control the Rift and this ebb and flow of the game. But Dignitas Mirage still have a gold lead. I don't expect that to last for too long, to be honest. Baron makes it really hard to keep a gold lead if you have one at all. And just like that, it's basically back to even. One more turret, one more kill will basically give AOE that lead for themselves. But Dignitas Mirage looking to do the best they can. Short hopping forward once again on the Arcane, but will not find very much. Dragoon again with that Warmogs will just heal all the way back up. There's mid-tier 1, and now Dignitas Mirage are the ones that have to turtle in their base and have to find a fight for themselves. Maybe thinking about going bot side. Light Pulse gonna get pulled in with a Fate's Call. There we go, hopping right back forward. Flash Flay immediately deleted by Leo, who's now hopping his way out of the back line, but he's gonna fall. Dragoon now all alone, retreating back to the safety of his team. Pock is going forward with the edge line, not gonna be able to find very much. Chim, that's only the clone, that's not the target you want. DNA going golden. Josie on the side, flashing forward. Moonfall in the middle of everyone.
Oh!
He's taken down though before he can go golden, and the Zani is not able to survive for much longer.
Cyber!
Chim now gonna fall. Cyber's on a rampage. Here come the resets. This Viego is unstoppable. He's the king of the Rift, the king of the map, and the king of the fight in the bot lane. And it's all Dignitas Mirage from here on out. Pacus is on the run, but you're not able to go too far, buddy. Looking at 5 members down. Dignitas Mirage fight back.
They fight back indeed as the support will fall, and as soon as the focus is not there for AOE, Dignitas will strike. Light Pulse gets one shot, but he got the fight started, and there was nobody there to hit Cyber. There was nobody there to hit Dragoon. They weren't able to split them apart, and the Death Ball just rips out the heart of AOE randoms. Baron buff is gone. Map pressure is gone, and although AOE will not lose any objectives of their own, the game is back to dead even, Necrox.
This game is so damn good. AOE randoms and Dignitas Mirage going back and forth in game 1. Looking to punch their ticket into quarterfinals. Both these teams not willing to give up game 1 without a fight. And Cyber, with the team on his shoulders right now, is carrying Dignitas Mirage to a place where they can look at denying soul, where they can fight and maybe push into the base of AOE randoms. 90 seconds talk until this objective is up, and this could be game determining.
Yeah, and Cal also casually sitting on 4.5 items, you know, with the Warden's Mail in his inventory. 5, 2, and 7 on this Callista. Remember, this guy got first blooded like 3 minutes into the game, and he has not backed down ever since. The only other time he fell, of course, was in the big mid lane fight for AOE. Has quietly been a massive secondary carry for his team. Everybody on Dignitas team fighting on so well, even DNA, only at a quote-unquote unimpressive scoreline of 3, 4, and 8 on this Victor, has done tremendous damage and has really dictated the tempo of these team fights with the zone control that he can put out. And it just goes to show the difference in styles between these two comps. Dignitas, they want to stay together, and AOE, they want to rip you apart, but at the end of the day, execution is king. As we have 50 seconds to the Dragon, and Dragoon gonna get chunked down, but it just doesn't matter because that boy's a Mundo.
It's Warmogs as well. Look at the regen, 130 every second after he stops taking aggro. Another hook in from Pacus. Here comes the engage, though. TP will join the fray. Here we go. 5v5 now in the river. No one yet able to pull the trigger. Pacus actually escaping away from this one. Couple more poke with a shock blast. and a true shot barrage, plus a couple mystic shots here and there, but AOE Random's controlling mid lane, but it's Dignitas Mirage that control the river.
Yeah, AOE actually can end the game. I mean, they've got a wave, and they've got so much damage, and the Dragon's still not out for another 10 seconds. No Baron to power recalls. It's forcing a response out from Dignitas. If these recalls complete, AOE can just turn back to the Dragon. They're going to try to split their focus. They're going to deny the Dragon Soul with their top laner and their jungler, but no TP available on Cyber. It's 2v3 in the base. Short Hop just going to arcane shift away. How much can they get? It looks like it's just going to be an inhibitor as Dragon will fall. DNA getting chunked.
DNA chunked down to half, plus the Chaos Storm going forward, but Dignitas and Mirage are going to be able to secure the Dragon. Can they secure the fight? Chim's going to go in with a Cyclone, going to be able to find a little bit more damage. Leo going to go down for now. The reset's coming through. Cyber's keeping himself alive in the accelerated gate. Here we go. He's dead. Chim's got the shutdown, make it 2 for 2. The rest of the fight, though, a beautiful hook with the death sentence is going to sentence Short Hop to death. Josie's on the run, still has his Zhonya's available, but the blast code cannot get him away. Now he's just buying time for the rest of the respawns. Chim barely escaped as well. Josie will fall, yes, with a Zhonya's from DNA. Chim's still alive, but there's an inhibitor down in the mid lane. Dignitas Mirage now own this map while these death timers are true. A close fight in the jungle, but no one is over yet.
Dignitas Mirage, just when it looks like they're getting outplayed on the map, AOE, they don't have the execution of the team fight. Cyber gets taken down, but it's all about Cow in this team fight. Full build on the Kalista, all that lifesteal, all that kiting coming through. Light Pulse hitting the hooks, and they just managed to wipe AOE off the map. They're an inhibitor down, but they managed to save Dragon Soul, and it's going to be another 3.5 minutes before we see that one come online. This game is a banger, and we've got at least one more. Baron now on the map. Josie down for 15 seconds. I think this one's going to go over uncontested.
I think this one might just be gone. Pacus now walking in, understands that this one's going down. Chim has the Cyclone back available. Remember, Pacus, this one's on you. If you want to engage, you got it. Here we go. Chim's going to pull the trigger right now with the Cyclone, but it's only the clone now that's going to go forward. Re-engaging now. It's a fate call. There's the flay in the middle of everyone. A massive knockup from Pacus. 2 members already going to go down. Chim's finding a double kill for himself. Now hopping away, using the clone to buy a little bit more time. Meanwhile, in the back line, it's going to be Dragoon going low. He's not dead yet. Leo hopping forward, flashing himself right back away, but Cow's still alive, putting those stacks in with the wave finally coming out. Cyber is down. GA pop, but it does not matter. AOE Random shut down Dignitas Mirage, and they're on the victory march down mid lane.
AOE's gonna win it. They managed to execute in the team fight when it matters. 4v5 jungler down. They don't give a damn. Chim goes in on the Baron, getting the ult, stays alive for so long, and they take down the man himself in Cyber. DNA also going down at the beginning of the team fight, and that's all she wrote in game 1. AOE Random's gonna defeat Dignitas Mirage in the first one.
Holy shit, AOE Random wants to win this game. Dignitas Mirage will falter at one moment, but AOE Randoms will absolutely not give you any room to breathe, and they take game 1 and they made it look good.
I mean, what a game. We said that AOE had the tools to get ahead and that they needed to get ahead to win this game, but instead, they just out-execute Dignitas in the team fights. Chim on this Wukong was invisible for 30 minutes and then proceeded to put the team on his back in 2 straight team fights. I mean, that's insane. That just goes to show that anyone can pop off in this game. I mean, that was amazing. That was amazing.
If that's game 1, how does it get any better than that? Dignitas Mirage and AOE Randoms go back and forth. I don't know how many times we had to swap who had control, who had vision over the other. At the end, it comes down to one call, and it's just start up Baron from Dignitas Mirage. Pacus and Chim, the duo, make the play by themselves. The rest of the team then comes true. Josie at the very end. Short Hop hopping around all over the place. Man, this team is so much fun to watch, and they take game 1 off Dignitas Mirage in style.
Yeah, I mean, true to their name. What do you expect from this team? And it's just incredible. If I were Pacus, I would have said that Baron was gone. I mean, Dignitas didn't even do that much with the first Baron that they got earlier in the game. They got like 1 tower, and they got the dragon stolen from them. That's not very impressive, right? So I would have just said, we'll win the next one. No, Pacus says, we're going to kill them right here, right now, 4v5. And they did. They won the fight, and they won the game off of the back of a gutsy call. I mean... And like you said, that's just game 1. Now these teams have downloaded each other. Now that they know what each of them wants to do, how will they adapt? And I mean, I'm just excited to see it. I think you absolutely cannot give Short Hop Ezreal. Look at the damage. He did by far the most damage in the game, 37,000. Ezreal's just a disgusting champion right now. I mean, I don't know. It was an amazing game.
These two teams, I mean,
I'm at a loss for words.
I don't think I've ever seen two teams go back and forth and really just go at each other as much in such an important game. Neither of them willing to lay off the trigger at any point. Finally, Dignitas Mirage falter in one moment, and AOE randoms get their win in game 1. But don't go anywhere. I don't even need to tell you this now, but we'll be right back with a game 2 between these two squads looking to punch their ticket to playoffs.
What are you willing to lose? You cover your own.
One more hook forward from Skytech. Won't be able to find the mark. Now it's Leo99 trying to make the play all by himself. No support. Finally, the jungler's going to arrive. Josie's here. Has the lifting lullaby. One more crash down. Watch down. Eve, and the blows will find it. Flashing for the final auto onto Skytech, who will burn down to the grave. Leo looking for the dive onto the turret. The flash away. Going in. Perry's already going to go down, but so is Pockets. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but Josie has the shield. Look at the flash over the wall from Leo. He gets everyone in it. Double kill already to Josie. And Porsche is not long for the world. Meslo's going to drop as well. One more root, one more auto from Short Hop, and the shutdown goes his way. Is trying to force the issue though before you can settle in, before you can take a breath, and here comes Shim as well with Paranoia trying to flash away. Can he get himself out to safety? Massive knock up onto everyone from Skytech, but one more to be returned. This one's even better from Leo. It's got AP ratios, and he's just gonna rinse this fight. They're gonna turn this thing around. Evil Genius with Prodigies have gonna get wiped away.
I think so far it's been just fight. He does connect onto the Ezreal. He's gone up pretty hard by this. The damage is definitely there. And Josie is flashing on top of Leona, already gone. Josie has to go golden here, but it's just going to be the acceleration gate, the shot flash. That's an ace, a triple kill going over the lead.
Stop now. We'll let him swallow the pride. You're turning the tide. It's true,
And open arms, and here comes a re-engage coming on through. Nice stuff coming in. Beautiful work from Pockets. Just null and void everything they wanted to do, and that is an easy 2 kills secured by AOE Random.
Dragons gets started here, and Shim ends up starting the fight as well. Only finds a single knockup, but RBM gets burst down before the equalizer can even come out. With Azanya's forced as well. It is all up to Jar when he's at the death mark to find a single kill, but he just can't do it as Josie takes him down. Gets straight to focus as well. As the only member left alive is forced to run a triple kill. Goes it to Short Hop here, and Shim ends up playing cleanup crew to finish off the ace, to finish off the soul, and turn AOE Random sides on the Baron. Find an engagement there. Josie, I guess, is going to go for the flash steal, and there goes for it, and finds it as well. AOE Friend, they keep themselves in the game on the back of their jungler. And never more so evident than it is around this Baron. Or sorry, around this turret. As Hook comes in from Pocus, equalizer is big from the backline. We have Short Hop able to survive and even take down RBM. It's 2 hits. We're trying to make it 3 though as Shim goes forward. Josie needs to find the slows here, and Faisal trying desperately to get out, should be caught. It's just a slow chase down, a slow bleed out as AOE get caught overextended once more.
Keep your eyes out for AOE randoms, because they don't care where you come from. They don't care about your backstory. They want you, and they want your nexus. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is just about time for game 2 and its draft. I got some water, turned on the fan in my room, took a breather, cooled down, as I'm sure you did as well. And these teams needed to cool themselves down after a hot game 1.
Yeah, hot is definitely one way to put it. And man, AOE managed to take it in the first game against Dignitas by just, I mean, I would have to say a miraculous Baron intervention, team fight win, walking it down mid to take what was an incredible game. And AOE randoms already changing up the draft a little bit, banning out the Viego instead of the set, and instead electing to first pick that one. And then Dignitas looks like they want to go back to the Mundo after it was looking almost unkillable last game.
Yeah, so same things here for Dignitas Mirage in different orders. So far, we're going to get to see Set instead of the Diana first pick, though. AoE randoms still hovering the Diana. Did work out pretty well for Josie. Maybe a couple team fights that just a little too aggressive. Maybe wait out a little longer before you can go into the middle of that team with a Moonfall. But there's definitely one in that mid game that stood out. 3 members all pulled back in, basically a one-shot across multiple. And yeah, they're just going to go ahead and lock it in for Pockets in the bot lane. This is a counter matchup for Thresh. Your hook is just simply better. And AoE randoms, I wouldn't be surprised if they lock it in.
Yeah, AoE randoms really has no reason not to go back to this. I mean, it's pure comfort for them. Pockets is incredible on roaming tank supports. Josie loves the Diana. It's a very good pick in the meta. And now they've taken away the Viego, which is what got the better of Josie in the early to mid game and almost made Josie look foolish, I would have to say. And so they take away that one. They force Dignitas to adapt a little bit. And Dignitas, likewise, seems pretty content with what they were doing. They might adapt to the Lee Sin. Of course, this is the Pentaflex, so don't really know where that's going. I would not be surprised to see that one reserved as a potential mid lane pick for the side of DNA. He piloted the Victor extremely well, but I once again want to voice my displeasure with the pick. If you're going to R5 Victor, you got to have a hardcore team fighting composition. I think Dignitas was a little too heavily spec'd into skirmish to really make it effective despite DNA piloting well. Regardless, with Lee Sin locked in, maybe he'll just get to flex his muscles a little bit more as we come into the second round of bans.
But of course, though, as you said, never know where this one's going. Literally could be in any of the 5 roles, probably other than support this time because of the Thresh. But Dignitas and Mirage certainly have that
Thresh
flexibility.
jungle's pretty legit Necrox. So.
I mean, ganks are pretty scary, right? You get the hook from out of vision, and you're just like, what's going on?
You'd be level 6 at 20 minutes, but you know.
Aatrox taken off the board here from Dignitas Mirage. No surprise. Pretty popular champ there up in the top lane, especially for Chim. Nico as well. Pretty similar draft. The only difference is the Viego. Cyber played that one pretty well. And yeah, this one makes sense. The Wukong is one of Chim's better champs, if not his best champ, I would argue. And yeah, get that one off the board as well. Pretty strong up there on the top lane. Syndra as well. So not too many changes. Dignitas Mirage don't think they need to change all too much up. Oh, and I love this champion. If there's one thing you know about me as a solo queue player, playing my own version of League of Legends, Aphelios is my love. And this would be so much fun to see, and we're getting it today.
Yeah, and this is really interesting because to me, this says that Dignitas is going to be calling AoE's bluff a little bit, where last game we said that AoE kind of needed to get ahead with a better mid-game comp and try to snowball the game early. Of course, that didn't happen, and they ended up winning in the late game in spectacular fashion, but now Dignitas with this Aphelios, and again back to the Mundo, signaling a little bit more for hard scaling as opposed to the likes of that Callisto. So maybe they're saying that this time they're going to hard win the late game and force the issue even more on the fact that AoE will have to execute in the early to mid game better than they did last time. Because I will say, with flashless side laners basically the entire game, to only get one early kill onto the Diana, I think is a miss from AoE. However, it does allow Short Hop to get back on this Ezreal. It was disgusting last game. This champion is still broken, even after slight nerfs, you know, to Sunder and whatnot. So I'm excited to see him back on it. And AoE, I think, also, again, have a better team fighting composition than they had last time around. Although there's no Wukong available, they've got the Trundle counter pick into the Mundo. They've got the set, and then the Diana, Nautilus, Ezreal staying the same. So very exciting stuff from both teams.
This is interesting. Dignitas Mirage, assuming they do lock in this Cassiopeia, have built the truest front-to-back composition that you could ask for. Aphelios does nothing other than stand there and auto-attack, and Cassio, instead of autoing, she just presses E for the Twin Fangs. It's basically just another backline carry. You have the Thresh for the extra bit of peel, and AoE randoms have a little bit more tool to work with. They draft the Trundle, which I don't like, into what Dignitas have, other than the Dr. Mundo, of course. Use the Subjugate. He gets pretty squishy. You can take him out way easier that way, but AoE randoms have a lot of dive. They have a lot of access onto the backline with the set showstopper, with the Diana gap close, and with the knockup from the Nautilus. So Dignitas Mirage carries, they need to play this one well, or AoE are going to get onto you, and they will explode in this team fight.
Yeah, and I have to actually say, I think I'm once again a little perplexed by the R5 pick from Dignitas. They opted into red side again this game, you know, having lost, and last time they used their R5 on the Victor, didn't do a whole lot. Then now use their R5 here on the Cassiopeia, and although it looks good on paper, right, because it's extremely good at front-to-back team fighting. Miasma for the zone control, you're just going to burn down all this front line, right? But AoE's composition has an absurd amount of CC. You've got Trundle Pillar, you've got Nautilus's entire kit, you've got Set. You know, they're just going to try to run on top of you. If this Cassiopeia doesn't have Flash, which you only get one of those every 5 minutes, I'm actually worried about DNA's ability to kite out these fights like he was able to on the longer range Victor, because Cassiopeia, of course, has to get in range a little bit closer to do the damage. Now, I do think, again, it still holds a lot of merit, and DNA's positioning last game was pretty damn good, so I'm not too worried about his ability to pilot the champion effectively, but it definitely will be, I think, a little bit more difficult than meets the eye.
I love that as well, because of the Trundle and the Diana being picked. Yeah. That means it's Trundle going top lane. You can see it now. Chimmy will be piloting that one, and Trundle into Mundo may be a little rough for the early beginning, but as soon as you hit level 6 and you get a little bit of Grievous Wounds in there, Dragoon is not going to have a fun time into this matchup. The pillar doesn't necessarily take away the CC reduction, and yeah, Dragoon, if you get the Diana ganks in, this could get really rough for the top lane. Lee Sin, just a bridge here as we do quickly run into some technological issues. We'll go straight back to our previous draft screen. Lee Sin is just a bridge, right, for Dignitas Mirage. All he is doing is bridging these carries into the late game through the jungle. Pair that with the Dr. Mundo and Thresh potential to skirmish in the early game. Not sure they have enough to secure early Drakes. Might be looking, just to take the other end of the trade this time. But AoE randoms, again, I feel like the ball is in their court, Hawk.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, and also, again, just to look at top lane real quick, last time Dragoon got away with taking the exhaust to mitigate a lot of that Wukong damage, but Trundle's even harder to get away from than Wukong with the permaslows that come through from the pillar and the chomp. So I almost wonder if, you know, you can even get away with taking exhaust, or if you're going to be forced to take the flash. But even then you lack a lot of the combat power and won't be able to win any trades that you were already going to lose anyway, but you're going to lose them even harder, right? And then meanwhile, I'm almost starting to wonder if this Lee Sin pick here for Dignitas was actually meant to go into the mid lane, as I talked about, to let DNA flex his muscles a little bit, because I personally don't love the Lee Sin and Diana matchup. I don't think it's a bad matchup by any means, but it sort of forces the Lee Sin into this awkward situation where he's a champion that wants to perma fight you, but Diana is kind of okay with opting into that, especially with her team support once you hit level 6, right? So it becomes a little bit awkward for Lee Sin to be able to navigate this matchup. You have to be able to path really effectively, and we were able to see Cyber do that last game, so I have full confidence in him to do it again, but definitely not a guarantee up there. However, it does open up, you know, they didn't want to send the Lee Sin into the set, which would have been a god-awful matchup. Cassiopeia, not great for the set, so it will be a free lane there for DNA.
Yeah, DNA, I mean, it'll just be fine, honestly, kiting out, especially the Miasma, getting any gap closer that you get, and especially with the Stride Breaker nerfs as well, if you'll call them nerfs, more of a rework, if anything. It doesn't give you a gap closer as well. That 300 unit dash is no longer something to play with, so you don't have free access onto the Cassio who's trying to kite you. Gonna have to be a little more creative on the set this time. Maybe we'll see mathematically correct set coming out. If not, it'll just be the Stride Breaker and the slow.
You want to see Aphelios just pop like a balloon in front of our eyes?
1,000 damage. Oh yeah, yeah, and everyone just explodes.
It's so funny. Oh, the videos on Reddit. I mean, I think the build's funnier than anything, because I mean, yeah, you can one-shot people with W. As somebody keeps dodging, it's just like my ranked games. But We'll get into the game soon.
We'll get there eventually. For now, we can just keep talking about these two teams. And I actually want to talk about the Aphelios in particular, not only because I'm a 200-year stan, but because this champion is so critical to a team in its entirety. When you draft something like an immobile marksman, not something like the Ezreal, right? Not the Callista, someone who needs to stand there and get peel. Yes, the Thresh can provide that for you, but you have to play around it well.
Yeah.
And Dignitas Mirage, if you remember last game, which I'm sure you do, Hawk, the only reason they lost is because of that last call, that last play at the Baron with a nice engage from Procus and Chim. If they make a mistake like that with an Aphelios, there is no escape. There is no way out. Josie will just find your backline and you're immediately dead. Dignitas Mirage are going to have to be controlled and they're going to have to focus really hard on AoE's cooldowns or they could lose within the flash of an instant.
Absolutely. And I think this game, even more so, Cal has to be the X factor coming through for his team. The Callista was good, and I don't want to take anything away from that, but Aphelios has that damage carry potential. He's got the 200 years of game design experience in his back pocket. It's his to command. That champion just does disgusting damage in the late game. So, yeah, I fully agree with you. You've got to position well, but the damage potential is just through the roof. As third time's the charm here on Champ Select. Hopefully, we're going to get into game as DNA just going to hover Evelyn, because why not?
I thought he was going to lock it in there. We're going to go into time 4. We've already passed the rhyme scheme. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe there's an inside joke there that I'm not getting. But yeah, Aphelios and Cassio basically in the same boat. Going to have to play pretty damn well if you want to stay alive. And that's the name of the game here for Dignitas Mirage. You have Cyber on the Lee Sin. We saw him pop off in the early game. Basically all the gold funneled onto him. Hoping to see more of a bruiser style build come out, something like the Gorge Ranker to keep yourself healthy, especially the amount of bruisers that AoE randoms have drafted can really get the health back up to full pretty quick. Don't want to see the Eclipse. That's more of a solo queue style, want to one-shot your backliner and then, hey, okay, my job's done, I'm dead. And on the other end of things, you have a lot of health and a lot of flexibility. Not only do you have super healthy topside in Set Trundle Diana, your AD carries Ezreal. He doesn't need any extra safety, may even opt for the Frozen Heart just to survive. It's going to be very hard to kill the likes of AoE randoms, but you can't take away from the fact that Dignitas Mirage have the damage to do it.
Yeah. This just in, you've got to play well to be able to win games, but I do agree with you. I actually think Lee Sin has the potential to be extremely annoying in these late game team fights. He's not going to get any of those game-changing highlight reel kicks. Most likely not going to get those, right? You know, looking across the team, it's Ezreal, it's a bunch of bruisers, right? But there's these two massive carries that we've been highlighting for this entire draft that AoE has to deal with, and if Cyber's able to navigate these team fights, jump in and out, kite back with his team, buy space, use the kick effectively as a disengage tool, it could be game-changing in and of itself. So definitely looking forward to that. But as it looks like the countdown is finally going to hit 0 here on the draft, Necrox, we had a banger in Game 1. Game 2 is ahead of us now. I am so excited.
These two teams looking to duke it out once again. We got a bloodbath and a banger of a Game 1. Game 2 may decide the fate of either of these teams and whether we're headed to a playoff immediately or whether we're getting some sort of tiebreaker. Go ahead and check it out on the page. All this group is tied up at 1-1 in terms of series. These games matter so much for playoff stakes. We'll be right back after that spectator delay ticks down as we load up onto the Rift. Welcome everyone back to Summoner's Rift. It is time for game 2 between AOE Randoms and Dignitas Mirage, as both these squads look to duke it out and punch their ticket to the quarterfinals here in the Risen Championship League. Pockus looking for something early. We're probably getting some sort of shenanigans, at least over some vision, I would imagine, for level 1.
Both teams, they just all chatted real quick. Hey, you want to meet in the bot side river? Sure, and they all went there. Unfortunately, no blood will be shed. Would have been exciting, but does mean vision advantage actually can go to the way of AOE randoms, as they should be able to get a ward down on this red buff. So nice move from them. And Necrox, we're back here in this series. As we've kept saying, game 1 was just insane. And right now, if you're AOE randoms, it's win and you're in.
Win and you're in. And put a smile, turn it into a grin for this squad. I mean, Short Hop is such a phenomenal AD carry. I could go on for days, but I won't. Dignitas Mirage as well. This roster is star-studded. DNA, Cow, Dragoon, Cyber, all these players have potential to pop off, and honestly, they all did last game. Like, all 10 members had a highlight reel moment in the last game, in the previous one right before this. But instead, it was one moment that determined it all, as Leo 99 maybe looking to trade here against DNA. But yeah, the back end of that one's going to hurt pretty rough if you are the set. That is why you take the D shield, because the sustain is the most important thing, and I would expect a jungle intervention here in mid lane pretty soon.
Yeah, I do like Leo taking that early trade, because look at that, actually getting wave control to potentially hit level 2 first, because if Cassiopeia gets that level 2, look, if she's level 2 right there, Leo just has to flash, getting hit by that Q, but instead he's able to push up, and man, yeah, I mean, this game looking like it's just going to play out similar to the last one. Josie now clearing down to the bottom side instead of starting on that side, so he will have that potential gank timer a little bit later. However, there is information on Cyber's clear, as he's likewise starting the top side junglers, just going to meet down there.
So getting this dark technology as well from Dragoon that I would dodge if I were playing a game of League of Legends, but exhaust TP for the Mundo. So there's no flash even into the Trundle, even with the possibility of a pillar blocking his escape route. Shouldn't be able to get away all too easy. Exhaust, of course, does give you a little bit of movement speed advantage, but not the same way a flash would. And Cyber headed down here, but Josie is actually in this bot side jungle over the wall, and if I'm not mistaken, that one didn't go the way of Josie, so a little bit of extra time wasted for this Diana.
Yeah, I mean, Josie did just, he doesn't actually lose that much time. He was a camp ahead anyway, so it does kind of suck to lose that, but not the end of the world, definitely. But regardless, just going to be forced out, walk away, and everyone's going to go back to farming, as Diana does indeed clear faster than Lee Sin in this early game.
Did have a better advantage over the Lee Sin earlier on with the extra clear speed, but that's basically been mitigated by that attempted invade. Bot side scuttle going to go the way of Cyber. Should be a trade 1-for-1. Now Cyber gets to make the decision. Does he want to recall, go back and clear these camps, maybe look for something bot lane? And for now, looks like he's probably just headed away back into his own jungle. Yes, so there'll be 1-for-1 trade. No double scuttle attempt this time for Dignitas Mirage, as AO randoms hold on for now. Drake up in a minute as well, but again, neither team really posturing pretty aggressively. DNA going to get his first recall with it. It's tier start as well for this Cassio, just getting that mana in as quick as possible.
Yeah, makes sense. You're never really at threat of dying to the set early game, especially once you get the Miasma online. I mean, we saw Leo take a decent trade level 1, but it ended up being even, and that's basically the best early game look you get to set, right? So stack that one up. He's already up to an 11 CS lead, and that's resulted in a minor gold lead for his team, as Hook going to land on the bottom side. Pocket's going to trade it back.
Pockus has a root as well from the Aphelios Infernum. Does a little bit of damage. Flash away from Pockus, but the slows are in. Here comes the root as well. Flash away. We'll get Pockus to safety, but a beautiful Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike. And that's what Lee Sin can do. Nice hook from Pockus to bring back Light Pulse under the turret. But now he's been rooted up. There's the Infernum. Shock Blast. And Cow gets one for himself. Massive play on bot side. Cyber's there in time to make the effort. And Dignitas Mirage come out on top.
Yeah, this time around it's Dignitas getting the early play, but there is the opposite reaction. Exhaust going down.
It's again Newton's Law, flash away, but again, Dragoon has no flash for himself. Exhaust only does so much. Now he's going to be auto to death. Josie flashing his way, but the minions may just kill him off. The potion will keep him alive, and Chimmy takes a tasty bite out of the Mundo, giving AOE one more.
Man, that exhaust looked really good watching Dragoon just absolutely beat on Chim until you realize he still couldn't get away and died anyway. But almost trades it back. DNA going to be forced back. E going wide, not going to amount to too much. However, as we were saying, first play on the bottom side. Never mind, this one's not over.
Bacchus is very low already. Twin Fangs taking him down to about a third HP, but Light Pulse hook missing means there's no sort of follow-up there. So Bacchus the roam tried to be punished. Actually, really good timing there from Light Pulse to understand that he can follow that roam. As long as your bot laner stays safe and into Ezreal, there's really no threat. Should be good stuff from Dignitas Mirage from here on out. A nice lead in the bot lane for 200 years himself. You thought those years hurt. Man, they are just going to stack up now as he is the win condition for Mirage.
Yeah, definitely the win condition, and getting that kill is massive. Just really nicely played there by Cyber. I feel like Short Hop, actually a rare mistake coming out from him. Should have burned the shift just a little bit sooner, wanted to get the extra damage, but with the Lee Sin getting Lantern in, the damage was just too much onto his back. So even though he gets under turret, Resonating Strike was there. And as they try to get this wave pushed in, no summoners means it's risky. Lee Sin coming down.
Oh my gosh, this combination, red-white, you
Josie's
cannot
here.
fight. Bacchus is dead. He's left to die. Death sentence on the other member. Oh my word, Light Pulse just outplays them both. Give it on over to your AD carry, and just like that, Dignitas Mirage demolish AOE in the bot lane.
Demolish indeed. Bacchus just trying to pull the team away from his AD carry so Short Hop can live, but Short Hop wants to throw in a Q and gets taken down instead. And although Josie's there, they know they can't win the fight because you know what guns Mr. 200 Years had? He had red and white Crescendum and Severum right there. Just, you can't fight into that. Too much healing, too much damage. So Josie just forced to watch from the sidelines as his bot lane dies. Dragon gonna go down very early in this one, and the early game definitely more in favor of the side of Dignitas Mirage this time around, as opposed to last time where, you know, AOE was ahead for a bit. Before losing it, Dignitas might have more time to press the advantage that they need. And again, cannot be understated, 2-0-2 on the Aphelios. Cal might be having himself a good game once again.
Love seeing both faces from Dignitas Mirage as well. One, the incredible micro to land that hook onto the enemy AD carry when the support had already committed himself for death. Not only that, but the macro from Cyber to understand this is our Lin condition, this is a lane we want to press forward, and he's there in time to help out the bot lane as well. Cyber getting involved early, that is how you beat the Diana. Now level 6 though with a Moonfall means Josie can start looking to pick some fights for himself. But Cyber is already so far ahead. 4 out of 4 KP for Dignitas Mirage means this Lee Sin has basically already done his job, and anything now is just overtime.
Yep, and I was talking about how the Diana matchup can be awkward for Lee Sin. Well, when you're ahead, it doesn't matter. And it's funny, I was going to criticize Cyber for being on the top side of the map while that wave was trying to get pushed in there from the side of AoE randoms, but then I looked on the mini-map and he was already pathing his way down for the punish. So Cyber, he's definitely a challenger jungler, getting the job done. And although AoE does roam their support up to the top side to get a power play onto the Herald, which is a pretty impactful play from them using this top side pressure that Chim does have, it does not, it will not, excuse me, be enough to completely dig them out of the hole that they do find themselves in. CS in the mid lane, CS in the bot lane, as well as the kills not going their way here as we crest 9 minutes.
Yeah, not headed in the favor of AoE randoms, but of course, we've seen them operate under pressured situations before, so cannot count them out of this one. But the biggest point here, honestly, when you look at this team and how AoE randoms is constructed, a lot of their talent, a lot of what they like to do is centered around bot lane, and they're the ones falling behind. Maybe something to do in top lane, though, as Dragoon is under a turret, pops the ulti immediately. But what does the tower aggro look like? That's the biggest question. Moonfall will do a little bit of damage. Shimmy is using this tower aggro. Josie takes it accidentally. The red buff tick brought the aggro, and Dragoon throw up the thumbs up because that was a thumbs down play from AOE.
Yeah, and not only that, Josie missed another Q. However, they're going to get the hook on the tower 3v2. He's rooted.
Bot lane root in Moonlight Vigil. Light Pulse even won't die. 2 for nothing, and now it's time for mid lane. Leo sees his team is dying around him, and he wants to make the play. Haymaker will not do enough, not nearly, and AOE randoms lose everywhere on the map.
AOE randoms just falling apart at the seams. The whole reason they went for that topside dive is because they had the information that Cyber was down on the bottom side. Josie going to try to make an attempt on the mid lane. Trade of flash is not going to amount to too much. So they go for the dive on the top side, and the initial execution was good. They waited for the Mundo ultimate to mostly time out, and the exhaust does go down on the Trundle, meaning that he's not really participating in the fight. They think Josie will be able to finish him off. One more Q with the passive auto would have had it, but he just doesn't find it. He whiffs on the Q and gets taken down by just 2 tower shots, especially I think Chim might have been able to tank one more. So massive misplay on the botch dive there on the top side, and then you cannot stay under this turret if you're the bot lane of AOE randoms. You knew that the Lee Sin was on the bottom side. You have to expect that the dive is coming. You're already losing, and instead it's just more kills going the way of the Dignitas, and this is a massive gold lead for this point in the game for the side of Dignitas. They are much further ahead than they were on the last one, with this Aphelios being at critical mass already. Noon Quiver, Berserker Greaves, Pickaxe, Cloak of Agility. That Gale Force, I would have to imagine, or maybe even Kraken Slayer with all the tanks on the other side, is going to be coming through extremely soon.
Yeah, not too far away at all. At maximum 600 gold, which probably already has half that in his inventory. First one, other than the top side here to complete a mythic. He'll be the first bot laner to do so. Sunder in from Chimmy just to get a little bit of extra damage onto Dragoon. Hook in bot side. That's an awkward interaction. Light Pulse could have opted to follow, but instead we'll just let that one go. And his bot lane is as bad as you could ever imagine. Aphelios will not outscale the Ezreal. Maybe he can do more damage, but the ease of execution for Ezreal is always something you have to worry about. Meanwhile, top side, Cyber going in, Josie flashing away, Ward hop to follow, Safeguard is there, kick, red buff, resonating strike finds the kill, and now the top laner's in a 1v2, Dragoon going low, pops the ulti, there's no grievous wounds on Chimmy, so it's just full health for Dragoon if they let him, and he's gonna be the one to secure the kill. Cyber 4-0, Dragoon 2-1, and Cow 3-0. Dignitas Mirage, give him a fork because they are fed.
Fork indeed. However, DNA not going to look good for him. Probably going to get taken down. Yep,
he's
Leo going to collect that one. But see, Cyber actually hit his Q right there on a Josie and takes him down. But hold up, Flash is being blown, but shouldn't amount to too much more there, as they will just take the dragon. See, Josie's on the top side, expecting the side of Dignitas and Cyber to be down on the bottom side, setting up for the dragon. But instead, Cyber expects Josie to expect that and moves himself up to the top side to get a couple kills on his way down. I mean, just immaculate pathing, because this Dignitas knows that this dragon is free because they have the 3-0 Aphelios with the extremely fed jungler, right? They don't need to do it right away, so instead, they go to the place that they know Josie wants to attack and win there first. Cyber spreading his lead to every part of the map. That is just intelligent jungle pathing. Cyber truly having the better of Josie in this one. 5,000 gold in the lead, 2 dragons in the lead. Herald amounting to nothing as AOE not able to keep up with the pressure that Dignitas has been applying.
And that pressure has been insurmountable so far for AOE randoms. The only success they've really found was that mid lane play. Sure, topside gets a kill as well, but other than that, there's really been nothing for them. Dragoon now doing his best to clear out the waves as he will get chunked down. Sunder does a lot of work against this Mundo. Will now be forced to retreat back under his turret.
Josie's back.
Here comes the jungler, maybe looking for a dive. Do they get this one? Remember, there's exhaust. Chimmy will take aggro now. Do they get the dive this time? Certainly, you can't fail it twice. Pockets tanking aggro. He's not going to go down. Here we go. Maybe Dragoon turns it around. 1 HP. Jimmy flash forward for the chomp down, but DNA is here along with Light Pulse. The Flay finds the kill, and another one's burned down. Cyber on the back end will clean up number 3, and Dignitas Mirage focus their members, punish the overextension, and AOE come up short yet again.
AOE just basically throwing the ball in down the field, hoping that somebody's gonna catch it, but you've got to know that the reset's already come through from Dignitas, and they just get taken down. You can't kill the Mundo that fast. Cyber was there before the dive even started. Now this Cassiopeia gets a kill. They're going to get the Herald. They're going to get top turret. And, I mean, this game's over. Dignitas is just at an insurmountable gold lead. Only 15 minutes in. They're already at 30,000 gold. There's over 8,000, over 7,000 in the lead. It's just an incredible game. Cyber really making his presence felt on this Lee Sin. I said Lee Sin wants to fight all the time, and Diana's fine with opting into it, but not like this. It's just been better execution from Cyber so far, as I have been less than impressed with the Diana this time around for Josie.
Yeah, really coming up short at best for Josie on the Diana, and meanwhile bot side is just losing the 2v2, and then jungle intervention makes it even worse. Last time it was the opposite. Pockus and the likes of Short Hop were burning summoners. They were getting advantages in the lane in the 2v2, and then it was Josie coming down. The script has been flipped here. Dignitas Mirage are the ones that focus bot side, and they are the ones that end up out on top. But for now, Dignitas Mirage control the Rift. They have a nice dragon advantage at about 2-0, and a huge gold lead to boot. Gonna need AOE to get some creativity here as they lose everything. Their bot side jungle no longer belongs to them. Their top side is completely warded out. And in 2 minutes, we're already looking at Soul Point flash in. Nice petrifying gaze onto two members. Going golden as well. Here comes the TP. Josie already dead. The first one to fall, and Cal's gonna pick it up. Dunk back. Showstopper, health bar, popper, baby. DNA picks it up, and Dignitas Mirage go 3-0 in the fight.
They go 3 in the fight. Dignitas just rolling their way past AOE randoms. You know, at least it means that we got a series on our hands. Necrox, we're going to probably have a game 3 in this one. But, yeah, AOE taking the fight without Short Hop. You know, no Mythic on this Ezreal means he wouldn't have done much anyway. They try to get it onto DNA, but the stopwatch is there. The team is there. They take down 2 turrets for their troubles, cracking open the base at just 17 minutes in. And I think at this point, it's a question of how fast Dignitas can win this game. I mean, all right, so Necrox, give me an over-under on 25 minutes.
Under, for sure. 25?
Under?
That's
Right.
I thought you were going to say 20. That's more realistic.
I mean,
the base is open.
I gotta take the over on 20, right? But I'm content with the under on 25.
Yeah.
I'll give Dignitas 23 minutes. If they don't end this game in 23 minutes, then did they really win? I don't know. Regardless,
well,
Josie just gonna die. Goodbye.
They killed Josie in about 23 milliseconds, so he's dead for the 5th time as AOE randoms lose their jungler, and now will lose their mid lane tier 2. Looking like that 20-minute win condition, maybe a little easier than we thought. Cyber's here as well. Mid lane tier 2 gone. Top lane they don't even care about. It's an island. No one likes that lane. And yeah, they're going to crack the base again as Cal looking to find one more route. 2 items already for him. DNA sitting on 2 as well. And maybe one more wave needed, but this one's probably gone. Petrifying Gaze finds nothing. Pockus forced to flash away. Second inhibitor now under fire at only 18 minutes. Maybe there's an engage here from the pillar, but Dignitas Mirage respect it and walk away.
Yeah, they're just going to back off. I think they would have won that fight and won the game had they opted into it, but they're just going to take the safe route and get one step closer to this Mountain Soul. Oh, I so badly wanted Cyber to take that Q on Short Hop. I mean, it was a certain death, right? But, you know, Lee Syndrome, come on. You got to take the Q if you hit it, right? You could have gotten onto the highlight reel, but instead, he's going to play intelligently to our dismay here. And just, you know, no steal going to come through from the Ezreal either. And you know, AOE find themselves in the 10,000 gold hole. This game not looking great. Dignitas has 5 more minutes to end this one, and it's looking good for them.
Yeah, it's looking better than good. It's looking like just glory for Dignitas Mirage. A disaster for AOE randoms after a great game 1. I mean, sure, it wasn't the cleanest, but coming out of a win like that has to feel good after a long game. But Dignitas Mirage cooled down. They found their win conditions, and they executed so beautifully on the bot side of the map. And AOE randoms fumbled the re-engage on top side. They fumbled the dive. They don't get any gold in return, really, or nothing to benefit them over the likes of Dragoon. And Maybe Chimmy can drop this turret if he really wanted to, but it really doesn't belong to him at this point. And with Baron spawning now pretty soon, this one's an afterthought. Maybe there's a miracle play here from AOE randoms, but with Aphelios on 2 items, with DNA on a stopwatch, it's just so far away.
Yeah, and I'm so impressed with how Cyber adapted in between these 2 games. Because last game, you know, I said he needed to be the win condition for his team, and he was the big kid on campus, right? But it wasn't enough if Viego didn't get the job done. So this time around, he decides to lean even heavier into attacking Josie in the early game, because I think his early game pathing has just been better than his opposition in both games so far. So he leans into that win condition and has solo won this game for his team so far. I mean, got his bot lane absurdly far ahead, got his top lane absurdly far ahead, and then just started killing everyone. Takes every objective, so Cyber is the man to watch, and AOE needs to find an answer as the Baron fight cracks off.
Yeah, Pockets is already gone before we can get there. Showstopper gets a little bit of extra damage. DNA going golden. Leo has no haymaker, though. He's dead. DNA barely going to be kept alive with a nice safeguard from Cyber. Flashing forward as light pulse. The hook connects. Red, white. Those are the chakrams. They hurt so much. Moonlight Vigil finishes off the kill. 3-0 again for Dignitas Mirage. And it is 3 for free. Plus the Baron. Chimmy doesn't want a part of it, man. Let him in the game.
Yeah, Chim says, let's go next. I mean, the Trundle wouldn't have done much in that fight anyway. He's only on a Sunderer there. And man, Dignitas, again, just taking over the fight. Leo may be mathematically correct, but he doesn't quite have the damage to one-shot DNA. And the Zhonya's once again bailing him out of a sticky situation. This Cassiopeia 3-1-5. Both the Lee Sin and the Aphelios sitting at 6-0. Dignitas, you got a minute and a half. Walk it down mid and end the game, or we're all going to boo you here on the caster desk. But not really, because you guys are crushing this game and going to send us most likely to a game 3. I would expect them to play the smart game once again, push up their waves, try to take mid and bot inhibitor, then kite back to Dragon at 2 minutes. That would be what I would do. However, Cyber might have other plans, because I bet you this time around, if he finds the Q and there's no turrets in his way, he's sure as hell going to take that one.
Yeah, there's no stopping him now. The Lee Syndrome in full effect. And the only 2 things you could think about for Dignitas Mirage at this point are, 1, how long can you drag out the mental torture for AOE randoms? That is this game. They figured it was over at about 15 minutes. This one is all but wrapped up, and it's really, really rough on the mentals for AOE randoms. And 2, mental fortitude for themselves. After losing a crazy game 1, they come back and just demolish AOE in game 2. That's inhibitor number 1 down. Dignitas play this one smart. They rotate on over to the bot lane inhibitor that was already exposed. That one is now gone. AOE randoms with a base in tatters now have to pull off a miracle defense, but it's certainly unlikely. True Shot Barrage tags Cyber. There's the resonating strike with the Sonic Wave, but will not take it.
Bearman
and
is
just
doing so
waiting
much
for the
damage.
final fight. Oh, Pockets pulls the trigger. Petrifying Gaze onto 2. The hook doesn't land, but members are just popping, and AOE are dropping. Dignitas Mirage, blink and you miss it. They take down AOE, and with no remorse for their lives.
No remorse indeed. Dignitas putting a statement on this game. They didn't do it in under 23 minutes. It's going to be about 23-10. Shame on them, but no less impressive. 23-5. They had a kill per minute. 8-0 and 10. Cyber making a statement here in game 2.
Cyber and the rest of Dignitas Mirage as well, coming up massive after a game number 1 loss. And man, does that make things interesting here in the Risen group. We're all tied up at 1-1. If either of these teams went out 2-0, it's almost certain that they would go into the playoffs. But with a 1-1 series now, and this one, things get real spicy.
Yeah, AOE definitely still in a really good position. They had the better game differential as opposed to the rest of their group coming into today. So even if they win 2-1 or even go 1-2, there are avenues for them to still make it into the playoffs, into the quarterfinals. However, you want to get every win possible, of course. You're definitely going to want this next one so you can avoid any sort of tiebreaker situations. So game number 3 going to matter a lot. I mean, it's a short group stage. Every single win matters, not just the series wins. So but for both of these teams, picking this one up, I mean, Dignitas, they're fighting for their very lives. If they lost this game, they were done. Yeah. If they lose the next game, They're done. They've got to get the job done here today. And so far, a 23-minute win is the first step to doing that. They shook off a tough Game 1 loss. They found an adaptation, and they exploited it to perfection.
Third time's the charm. You had ball in your court Game 1 AOE. Ball is now back in your court after a disaster of a performance in Game 2. It's got to be all or nothing now. The series is on the line, and you need it to push for the playoff position. Hawk and I will be right back with Game 3 draft in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Risen continues in just a minute. Welcome back, everyone. Hawk, it is time, baby. Time. It's win and in for Dignitas Mirage or AOE randoms. This game determines playoffs. And how would you start out a draft other than banning away Xin Zhao and Kha'Zix? Don't let those two through. And man, this game, I mean, we've seen it go, the series entirely, or games individually go back and forth, but AOE randoms, of course, coming off the back of a terrible, terrible loss. It's all on bouncing back. Now, I'm excited to see what they bring, and it all starts here.
Yep. On the bright side for AOE randoms, the fix for last game is actually pretty simple. look a little bit more for Cyber when he's playing an early game champion like Lee Sin, because they sort of just did their game plan and then Cyber destroyed them as they were trying to do their game plan. So drop a few more wards, don't let him get on a comfort pick, and Josie pick up the slack just a bit more, and that game might just go better for you. But here it is, it's elimination time. Game 3, winning in, as Necroc said, and as the bands finish up. Dignitas, Mirage, what are you going to first pick? Because, of course, these teams have swapped sides this time around.
Yeah, things are different for the first time this series in the side selection. AOE Randoms have decided they want the red side for their final side, which means they get the ever-evasive R5, the final pick in Dignitas Mirage with B1 available. Probably the strongest selection of all in a draft. They just pick up Thresh.
Yeah, this Thresh pick, actually, this Thresh priority by Dignitas has been so interesting to me, because I personally don't think Thresh is, like, the best support right now. It's very good, and it's done a lot, and I think Light Pulse has piloted this champion extremely well, but I think the main reason why they've wanted to pick it more than anything is because it is safe blind for the most part. It doesn't hard lose too many matchups, and it doesn't really tip your hand too much if you're a Dignitas towards what you want to do, so it sort of forces AoE to respond in kind. And speaking of that response, it will be the Varus this time around, so we're not going to see the Ezreal coming back for the side of Short Hop. He wants to go for, again, another bit of a poke ADC, but maybe a little bit more of a mid-game focused one to try to one-shot this Thresh before the game can really get going. However, he is sacrificing that safety, and I was just about to say it. I love this adaptation. Josie not going to go back to the Diana. I've not been impressed with it this time around. I think Rumble has better utility and is more reliable in team fights than the Diana.
Plus, you get the Varus to combo as well. The Chains of Corruption, the red carpet's laid out. No one can move. And that AoE damage just becomes so incredible. Pun not intended. Diana, though, taken away immediately by Dignitas Mirage. So, possibility of AD solo lanes. They're so strong right now in the current meta. Would love to see it. And with the Lantern there as well, could be very scary for bot lane ganks. And all right, I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. And we're headed straight back to the Dr. Mundo.
Yeah, going back to the Mundo, that's not the interesting part, though. I mean, you know, he's going to be fat.
Not
but
at all.
Cyber deciding to take away Josie's champion, I mean, that is spicy. We talked way back in game 1 about how Josie generally has a limited champion pool. He's just got a few that he likes to play, and he's pretty good at them. So now if Cyber can beat him as his own game, it could be pretty threatening. However, unsurprisingly, Nautilus going to be the response once again into this Thresh. We've seen this support matchup in all 3 games, and I think Pacus is very good at the champion, but this time around, the Varus has more deadly CC follow-up. I mean, Nautilus ult, Varus ult to hold people down on that equalizer could really be threatening. And not only that, the Rumble does provide a pretty good amount of tank shred as well, and just general teamfight AoE is less burst reliant. So I think the start of this AoE randoms composition is a nice pivot into more heavy teamfight focus, and it is an extremely strong start to a composition. But Dignitas seems like they've got comfort once again.
Yeah, going straight back for it. Speaking of comfort, Darius was up as well for Dignitas Mirage, has been banned away all series, but instead of opting for that one, they will not, and instead just go straight back to the Mundo. It doesn't really lose the lane. I mean, yes, you can miss out on a couple CS here and there, but really your Mundo, you're going to be fine. It doesn't matter, and worked out pretty well at negating those dives on the top side. But now AoE, they're not worried about top side, I'm sure. Bot lane, you have a Varus Nautilus combo. This is where Short Hop and Pacus can really start to gap in the 2v2. They really performed well in game 1. Game 2 fell off a little bit, got caught out by Cyber's ganks and his lane presence. And AoE randoms, they're going to commit to this style. You put the Cho'Gath topside, make him play weak side, doesn't really matter again, just tank on tank matchup, and you send jungle bot lane, AoE really indexing for Short Hop in this game.
Yeah, this is super interesting. So first of all, it looks like AoE is actually calling Dignitas' bluff that they won't pick the Ezreal. I mean, Ezreal was up for so long last game, and Dignitas opted into taking the Aphelios instead. And I think the Aphelios was great, don't get me wrong, but I still would have expected Dignitas to want to pick the Ezreal up for Cal. So I'm actually wondering if it's not in Cal's champion pool, and AOE is basically saying, we're not going to ban it because you're not going to pick it, which I think is a pretty significant draft advantage, as we do see. Looks like they might potentially go back to the Callista, which I like against this kind of composition. There's a lot of things that you need to dodge, but, I mean, there's a lot of things that you need to dodge if you're this Callista, and being short range into this type of composition, definitely threatening, especially because Varus Nautilus is a stronger 2v2 than Ezreal Nautilus that we've seen so far, and although the Varus is much more exploitable, if he gets left alone there in that side lane while Pockets goes to roam, they can start to hard win the 2v2. Likewise, Cho'Gath adaptation up there against the Dr. Mundo. It's a different way of beating tanks. Instead of trying to fight fire with fire, you're just going to sit back, play the tank matchup, play weak side, as we saw Chim do so effectively in Game 1. And scale up, be fat, be extremely difficult for these double ADCs to punch through.
Yeah, and I don't know about this Callista pick. I mean, yes, you can get a lot of dodge. Oh, this would be spicy. It's a hover. We'll see if they lock it in. We have before. Either Varus could go mid or Ezreal. Ezreal's probably a little bit more viable because of the safety. Better. But, I mean... all right, I honestly wanted to talk about the Callista and how they couldn't dodge anything. All right, we're getting Zed. Zed, all right, come on. I wanted to talk about Callista AOE. You can't do this to me. She can't dodge anything. Nautilus is too big. Varus is too big. But who cares about that? It is Zed in the mid lane. A must-win game from AOE, and Leo is pulling out the AD Assassin.
Okay, I gotta be honest. I think the Zed pick is terrible. Like, I was a little bit more hyped for the Ezreal because Varus wouldn't go mid, right? It would get destroyed by Tristana. You would hard lose that every time. Yeah. But Ezreal would have been a little bit interesting because you could sort of farm at range and be a really good skirmisher. And although you're sacrificing a lot of wave clear, you've got a Varus and ADC, so once you swap him to mid, it wave clears extremely well. Zed, on the other hand, you're basically saying, I'm going to kill Tristana or die trying, because you're never going to kill anyone else on this team. Callista's got Thresh in her back pocket. Diana's going to build a Zonia's. Mundo's a Mundo. I swear, if Leo ever kills Mundo, something's wrong with the game. So, like, you're going all in on killing DNA. So, I'm really interested because Leo's got to play this lane extremely well. I will say I was more of a fan of the Jace in Game 1 than I was of the set last game. You know, a little bit more of a lane dominant pick in the Jace. So Zed does have that potential to really pop off, take control of the lane, and be a good skirmisher. However, I don't think it fits into this composition. So it's purely a style pick, but you've got to respect it in the elimination match. He says he's going to go to Comfort. He says he's just going to beat his opposite number. And, you know, there's a lot of respect to be said for that, because at the end of the day, Comfort is what matters. You want to play your best League of Legends right here, right now.
And I'll be honest with you, Hawk, I feel like Leo has had DNA's number all series. Game 1, really dominating Jace performance. Game 2, you're on the set, Cassio. He did as best as he could. Pockets tried to roam. Sadly, Light Pulse was there to match. Got a couple really nice, actually, insects with the Showstopper under turret, having to burn Flash on DNA. If he can get that kind of a lead against a Tristana on a Zed in particular, yes, Callista has Shield Bow. Yes, she has a Thresh in her back pocket. She could just outright die. Same thing with the Tristana as well. And any one pick in a team fight can swing. Again, I'm not sure about it in the totality of the composition. You have a really nice team fight look, and they've sort of swapped it here in the R5 pick. But that is the power of R5. If you want to change up your identity, you can absolutely do that. And Leo called it. Incon was listening to him in calm, saying, okay, what do we want here? Zed, probably a couple of question marks from the teammates, but they locked it in. And in Game 3, you couldn't ask for a spicier draft for us to really punch a narrative in for this game.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for having faith in your team and your teammates to do what they do. And, you know, AOE does have a lot of consistent damage coming out from this Rebel and this Varus in team fights that they don't necessarily need it from their mid laner, so it does open up Leo's champion pool a little bit. And I kind of always actually harkens back. I don't know if you've seen the video, like the comms video of when Caps, you know, when he played Vayne mid that one time, and he's like, yo, can I play Vayne mid? And Reckless immediately is like, if you think you can win, do it. And I like to imagine that's what AOE is telling Leo right now. If you think you can win, pull out your champion and give it your best shot. And I love that you brought up as well. I think Leo's done extremely well into DNA so far this series. DNA has played 2 control mages in a row and not really done a whole lot. He's been, if it's possible, you know, quote-unquote, bit of a weak side mid. He's farmed up and done fine, but I think Leo's generally had more agency in this lane in both games. So now on the Zed, and now the DNA is on a less safe and a little bit more aggressive pick. Can Leo start to open up this matchup a little bit? So you'll love to see the confidence coming through. You got to get the job done.
Got to get it done. And funny that you mentioned that Vayne memory from Caps. It was against Tristana, and he actually ended up getting a super important one-shot in the late game. Wasn't mid lane Tristana, to be fair. It wasn't around back then, but yeah, there's like too many parallels to this scenario. On top of it, you not only have Leo on the Zed, you have Short Hop on the Varus. Has been banned pretty frequently. Actually, has a 50% ban and a 50% pick rate in Risen so far. Has a negative win rate though on the champions so far. 1 game away from having a 50%, to be fair. So maybe he'll push us to dead even. But this 2v2 in the bot lane, my God, if junglers aren't headed down here, I have no clue where they're headed, because this is the lane to get kills.
Yep, it's a threatening 2v2. It's a volatile jungle matchup. It's a volatile mid lane, and it's 2 wet noodles in the top lane. This is League of Legends. This is Proving Grounds. This is Risen. This is Game 3. I mean, I'm super excited. I don't favor one composition one way or another. I honestly don't. I think that the Varus Nautilus is just seriously such a commanding bot lane 2v2 coming up with a superstar AD carry that AOE has behind them. But Cyber, he gets the Diana. I mean, that's a 1v9 pick, and we saw what he did on the Lee Sin last game. This one's completely up in the air to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Either team could pull out a win in this one. Hopefully, we don't get something like Game 2. Hopefully, we get something more along the lines of Game 1. A little more oxygen in my lungs maybe for this Game 3, but between these two squads, I'm with you. Neither one is particularly favored. My final question before you, Hawk. Before we get into Game 3, before the series and playoff fates are decided, if there's one star, if there's one member from either of these two teams that you want to look at to really grant a win and punch their ticket to playoffs tonight, who are we looking at?
I mean, it's Cyber. Like, this guy solo won Game 2. He tried to solo win Game 1 as well. He has had Josie's number. He simply outpathed him, and he can pull a win out of thin air. And I think it's up to AOE to stop him so they can try to achieve their own win conditions, because if this game goes anything like the last one, it's going to be over in 25 minutes again. So can Cyber put the team on his back and take this one over, or can AOE shut him down and take another crazy win? That's the question.
Hit the nail right on the head there, Hawk. And with 90 seconds just about left on our spectator delay, we'll be back in just a minute as these two teams are already on the rift, but we're waiting to see what's going on. It is Risen action in Group C. Everyone's tied up looking to make their destiny into playoffs. AOE randoms take on the likes of this squad here. Dignitas Mirage headed into our final game. We'll see you in just a minute.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drums to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of a world that we
Welcome everyone. It is game 3 between Dignitas Mirage on blue side for the first time in our series versus AOE randoms, all locked up at 1-1. This game could determine who goes to playoffs and makes their way into quarterfinals. But for now, I am Necrox, still joined by Hawk on the casting desk. And man, this matchup is so highly anticipated. Eyes all across the scene looking at these two teams. Who can break the difference?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen an insanely close game 1. We've seen a stomp of a game 2, but it just doesn't matter because the only game that matters right now for Dignitas Mirage on the blue side and AOE randoms on the red side is this one right here. If you win, you're in playoffs. If you lose, you are done. Here it goes. Minions have spawned. Necrox, I am beyond excited for this.
Quick rundown before the action begins. No level 1 shenanigans, just a normal start. Both jugglers started on top side. Dragoon still keeping that exhaust. DNA hopping forward level 1, by the way. On this Tristana has bone plating plus the exhaust to mitigate the all-in potential from Leo, who will have to deal with a range versus melee matchup early on in this one. But that level 6 is when things can get a little bit tricky. And in bot lane, a volatile 2v2 that we've already talked about between these two. And it's no surprise, both jugglers headed down here.
Yep, both junglers going to start topside, and they clear at very similar speed, so I'd expect the gank timer to be the same. It's worth noting that early wave pressure does go the way of Cow and Light Pulse by just a minion or so they should have early shove in this one, as Short Hop getting poked out just a little bit as well by those Thresh autos. So nice advantage here for the side of Dignitas, but how much can they get? It really just comes down to the first fight. Both of the first ganks in these two games were on the bottom side, and they netted first bloods and kills, so I'm just waiting for these junglers to show up.
For now, we'll have to wait a little bit longer. Josie's still working on those raptors as Cyber has made his way already into the bot side, but the red side typically takes a little bit longer to clear because of those Krugs. That is pretty difficult to get all the way through. Now, Josie finally crossing mid lane, headed there as well. Pretty hefty clears for both of these junglers to start off in game 1, but that is to be expected. And yeah, bot lane should be the angle for both of these teams. And it's really the story of the night. Whoever wins the bot lane, whoever gets the pressure first on bot side seems to take the game. And I don't expect it to be any different as the wave is shoved under the turret. Trying Short Hop to pick up as much of this as possible, but a slight CS lead to Cow so far.
Yeah, and Cyber is also very far ahead of Josie here in the jungle clear. He's clearing his last camp. He's just straight up one ahead of Josie. However, Josie already setting up for the lane gank. It's going to be a 3v3. Josie does show himself. Gonna back away. Scuttle Crab just gonna go over, but it's so tense. Both these teams know the stakes. They're not willing to pull the trigger, be the ones to throw away first blood and put themselves at a disadvantage early on. As this Exhaust Mundo, Chim might be in danger actually.
Jim, you need to be careful, my friend. You have flash, but can you get away? Exhaust is there. You're slowed. I don't think there's a way out. Only home in a body bag. Dragoon with a final cleaver to the back will send Chibi packing a solo kill in the top lane.
Man, this Exhaust Mundo has been absurd. I have to say. I mean, it's been so insanely strong, and here's the gank.
Hook into the box side, double flash away. Pocket's not able to get away just quite yet. Exhaust is in. Ren stacking up, and Cow pulls the arrows out of the back of Pockets for one more kill. And Dignitas Mirage are 2-0 just like that.
Dignitas just making plays here on the map. Cyber sticking around, and Josie, why are you not defending their bot lane? The wave bounces away from them after it is pushed into their turret, as we saw earlier, so they have to overextend and try to shove that one out, but the hook is there, and the summoner spells are not enough. Pockets goes down. It's a kill onto the Callista, and the bot lane 2v2 already not in favor. As I was talking about before, the Exhaust Mundo has just been absolutely insanely effective in this series, so he gets a solo kill. 1,000 gold separates these two teams. Dignitas once again off to a great start off of the back of their jungler.
And in a counter matchup in top lane, Dragoon was counterpicked, and he gets the solo kill. Bot lane, the 2v2 almost was a 3v3 there after the first clears, but it ends up not being necessary. Cyber picks up the assist off the back end, flashing forward. Hook lands though. Maybe Cal's in a little bit of trouble this time, but the Ren stacks are already in. It's a 1-for-1. Both AD carries go down to the end with a nice arrow from Short Hop to trade it back, but 2 kills on a Kalista is something you have to worry about. Topside fight should dissolve pretty quickly, but bot lane is where all the action is for now.
Yeah, so that actually matters a lot because that was a large wave that got pushed into Cal, so he's missing about 2 waves of minions there under turret that Short Hop was able to pick up. So he's up 11 CS as well as ahead in experience, despite going down again there. So, you know, it is 2 kills under this Kalista, but that's not the end of the world. That's not terrible for AOE randoms. In fact, that actually might even be advantageous for them going... I mean, obviously you would have liked to not die, but, you know, the 1-for-1 there is fine at the end of the day. But you love to see Dignitas not taking their foot off the gas. They want to keep fighting, and Josie caught out in the river. Excuse me, Pacus, not Josie. No flash available. Just going to walk away, but that's Dragon Pressure going over.
Yeah, all fine for Pacus there, and he's honestly one of the main members that we have to look like for AOE randoms. That is their engage. That is their go button on the Nautilus. Sure, Equalizer does the same, but not the kind of CC. Josie, that's not where you should be, my friend. Flashing away, but it doesn't matter, man. This Kalista is already strong, and Cal gets number 3.
Ooh, AoE randoms, they just seem like they're falling apart just a little bit. Your mid lane and your bot lane are pushed in. You're face checking into your jungle there. You just don't need to do that. Josie now getting taken down. No time to flash away from the initial CC from that Thresh. And by the time the flash comes through, it's too little too late. And Dignitas Gromp secures the kill there for Cal. And this game looking good. You know, and there is a lot of scaling here for the side of AoE randoms, so that cannot be understated. Leo is even with their Shoshana here in the mid lane, and as level 6s have now come through, there is a lot of threat there, but this Kalista is really coming online at the expense of Pacus and Short Hop down there on the bot side.
Yeah, still a CS lead for Short Hop, but I mean, 3 kills is plenty to make up the differential and spill over in terms of gold. Oh yeah, that wave that was missed is going to cost them a little bit, but look at the priority they have. This is now their jungle. Josie's back here, but you got to be careful about this Thresh Light Pulse. The man just don't miss with this death sentence, and finally getting a little bit of vision back for himself. Has that Gromp to do. Pacus looking to roam over as well, but shouldn't be a fight as they get away no problem. And Dignitas Mirage now own this bot side of the map, this AoE randoms. They're going to need to find something. You cannot just continue to seed this bot lane 2v2 without anything in return. Plus, Cyber on top side doing this Rift Herald.
Yeah, I mean, Dragoon just has too much pressure in the 1v1, which is to be expected, especially with the solo kill going over. And, you know, with your jungler not being on this side of the map, they just say, we'll do Krugs here for the duo lane of Dignitas Mirage. So, you know, they'll be able to catch their minions as they hit the tower as well. So, you know, you do get free farming time here for this Varus, but you're not getting anything traded back for this Herald. It's once again Cyber wiping neutral objectives off of the map. And it is worth noting that the farm advantages that AoE randoms does have in bot lane and top lane, they're the only reason really that AoE is still in this game. They're already down 1,500 gold despite those farm leads. So, you know, they're managing to stay relevant in the ways that they can, but the Zed really starting to fall behind. As Kalista extremely far ahead. Fortunately, Short Hop has not fallen behind in the process. It's just that his late opponent is fed. So he'll still be relevant, but AoE randoms definitely has their work cut out for them. Dragon spawning 2.5 minutes. I don't think there's any way you win a fight around that one, barring a massive pick coming from Pacus.
Yeah, and I actually like that you bring up the point that no one on AoE is really truly behind, right? Maybe in the mid lane a little bit because of the matchup here, as it probably will start to turn pretty soon. Regardless, their composition is designed to have this big team fight that Dignitas Mirage have to be scared of. You lay out the carpet, you lay out the CC, the front line sits there as well. Yeah, exactly. In this team, as long as you're not out of the game, your team fight is just so strong that once we get to these neutral objectives, once we get to these full-on 5v5s, AoE randoms can certainly win a team fight. We just need to perform well, and that seems like a tall task after what happened last game, but Dignitas and Mirage still in control for now as they set up this vision control around bot side, looking for this next Drake in about 90 seconds. Recalls will come through. This is probably close to a completed item for Cal, plus Rift Herald is going to put even more gold this time in the pockets of DNA. Well, unless he doesn't want it. He'll just walk away.
Okay, another kind of suspect Rift Herald usage from Dignitas. We saw in game 1, they neglected to use Herald during Dragon Spawn and instead used it at about the same time or about a minute and a half before the Dragon. So although I think what they wanted is they wanted all of the plate money to go into Cyber, because I was just about to talk about how, fortunately for AoE, Cyber is not fed. It's all on Cal, not the superstar jungler, right? And although Cal has played incredibly well this series, I think the Diana getting fed would have been worse for AoE, right? So they want to try to get as much gold as possible onto him to increase their odds of winning this team fight, but I have to think saving that for wave pressure wouldn't have been the bad play either. Regardless, they do get 300 gold into the back pocket of their jungler, and with the reset coming through, they should be able to fight for vision in the river. AoE does have a respectable amount of vision for themselves, and now with the freeze, this actually becomes a scary prospect of a lane gank here.
With Pocket stepping into Alcove, though, that probably gives away the game plan. Supports normally don't just do that for fun. It's not a nice place to be. It's kind of dark and damp back there. Pocket's not a favorite of the Alcove.
It's the armpit of Summoner's Rift, you know?
Yeah, it's really bad. It's not a fun place, especially being pincered down there. So should be fine for Cal to walk away. They sniff out that play, and AoE randoms come up short on the attempt. But instead, it didn't really matter. This is what matters. The skirmish in the river. Pockets may just get caught out here, hook for hook. It's pulled back. Here comes the equalizer. That chain of corruption, and Cyber whiffs the ulti, finds nothing. Now Leo's gonna use the death mark. The Fate's Call is gonna be used, finding a knock up now, but Light Pulse has already gone down. Leo gonna find himself going back to the gray screen as a Ren comes through, and DNA's getting the resets. He's hopping forward, but they just can't kill him. Finally, Dragoon will fall. Double kill to Short Hop, and AoE randoms with a beautiful team fight will win it out. DNA on the run, has flash, should not die, but AoE fight in the river, and they win out big time.
AoE, once again, just having better teamfight execution than their opposite number. In game number 1, we saw it fighting back from behind. In game number 3, once again, it is Pockets making the plays here. He finds the hook onto Cal when he had no right to find it. He was dead to rights, but instead makes a play, and Short Hop follows it up with a chain of corruption. And although Cal had an incredible flash to get away from the equalizer, he still got rooted up by the chain of corruption, so he's not able to DPS in the fight. And remember what I said about Cyber not being fed? He dives in and gets exhausted and gets nothing for his trouble. Well, not exhausted because no one has it, but nothing for his trouble there. And it just meant all the DPS was gone with Cal not being able to hit. So although they're going to end up securing the Dragon, the gold is worth its weight in those kills, absolutely. And man, AoE randoms just with an incredible team fight to deny so much tempo from Dignitas.
And you have to give credit to Incon for this draft. I mean, this team is designed to win these river skirmishes, and AoE as well with credit here. That's what they do. They know they don't need to force any crazy shenanigans with a 3v2 in bot lane. Hook over the wall, finds Short Hop by the way. Light Pulse, the man don't miss. Here comes the equalizer. Short Hop is dead. Light Pulse trades back 1-for-1. Flashing forward is Josie. Pockets goes down. Cyber gonna get knocked up by the depth charge, but he's burning, baby. Don't stand too close to the fire or you're gonna get burned. Triple kill to the jungler, and Josie gets paid.
That's revenge for game 2 right there. Josie cooking the side of Dignitas alive. What an equalizer. It was a nice hook onto Short Hop, who had no flash, but they all funnel into the choke point, and they did not respect the damage of the Rumble. And my, oh my, Josie getting a triple. All of a sudden, this guy is huge. You got a 4-2 Rumble. You got a 3-2 Varus. Remember how we said that nobody on AoE was behind? Well, now they're ahead. And although Cyber does, to his credit, get a couple kills, so he gets to finish off that proto belt for himself as long as those Sorcerer's Shoes, he's not as far ahead of the curve of the game as he could have been, and look at the gold. It's only 1,000 separating these two teams at the 15-minute mark. Second Herald is up and available, and it looks like we got a 4v4 stack grouping up around this one.
Yeah, Herald may be another point of contest. Important to note, DNA has about all that gold.
DNA?
He's going to look for the all-in as
this?
well. Buster shot Leo, 1 HP. He's going to get cleavered down. He has no escape route. Dragoon is the one to clean it up, and a dark passage for DNA into the Herald with no mid lane means AOE have to give this one up. They're certainly not happy about it. Dragoon, this is not a spot for you to be, my friend. Sure, you got the turret, but can you escape with your life? Meanwhile, topside skirmish, 2v1. Short Hop's caught out. Dragoon somehow has escaped from Pockets and Josie. Dignitas Mirage, put on your masks. It's highway robbery.
Yeah, Short Hop being in the top lane there without his support, definitely not where you need to be. And then Leo, likewise, didn't have the ulti available, so a super nice buster shot there from DNA, able to knock him back and, you know, basically deliver him to his top laner right there. So Herald will go down, top lane turret, and mid lane turret will go down. So it's a massive amount of pressure going the way of Dignitas. This is very similar story to game 1. Actually, where they're about 3,000 gold here ahead at this 15-minute mark. They're well on their way to knocking down all 3 outer turrets first. However, there is still strong and scaling carries here on the side of AOE randoms, and Cal could be caught out, has the dark passage. Leo looking, but not going to find anything, as the game will just simmer. Resets should be coming through. 2,500 gold separates these teams. Nowhere near the insurmountable lead that we saw last time in game 2.
AOE fighting back in game 3. They might be behind, but they're not out just quite yet. Dignitas Mirage still with a lead, but
Leo.
DNA needs to be careful. Here comes Deathmark. Exhaust gonna find its way into Leo. Here comes Equalizer as well. DNA burned down. He's dead. Dr. Mundo is doctored down as well. Dignitas Mirage lose 2, and critical timing as well, as Drake is up in 1:20.
Yep, nice play by AOE. They had the reset first, so they have positioning on the map. You know, no Callista there to really respond to the play. As Short Hop not getting hooked right there, and Dragoon not going to get away with it that time. Flash Force as well. They're still going.
Why is Dignitas Mirage hanging around? There's no reason. Maybe they thought AOE reset with the extra gold, but AOE don't care. They want to stick around. Respawns are coming through for Dignitas Mirage. Now the resets come through for AOE. Finally, they'll be able to spend that extra gold, and Josie is the man to watch. And you want one ulti to keep your eyes on? Equalizer, Equalizer, Equalizer is going to be huge in this upcoming fight if AOE want to contest.
I mean, Rumble is the consistent damage carry threat for this team, and he's massive. He's got Night Harvester completed with Sorcerer Suits and Fiendish Codex, and that play was basically free for AoE randoms. All they expended were a bunch of ults that are going to be back up on Dragon Spawn anyway. Only Short Hops is desynced by about a second, so this does get scary. They do reset later, so they lose control over the Dragon area, but they've got the Cho'Gath, the face check, so it's not the end of the world for AoE randoms, and no flash available on Light Pulse means that there's an easy engaged target. Cyber, likewise, forced to flash as well, so you have options, and look at this. Chim is behind, Ward in the pit. They know exactly what's going on. It's going to be a team fight.
I think it is. AoE may not get the Drake, but do they get the fight? Drake is gone. The escape route is clear, but here comes the Equalizer. Pockets doesn't land the hook on anyone. They like Dragoon. Tanks that one up with a passive as well. Remember, CC cannot be applied, but he's going to be left for dead. Fancy feet to avoid the rupture from Chimmy, and they don't have any follow-up. Dragoon will not go down just quite yet. He's still keeping himself alive, and the rest of Dignitas Mirage have not left him just yet. Finally, Pockets finds the second hook. Dragoon goes down. AoE lose Drake, but pick up a kill. But critically hawk Dignitas Mirage, now sitting on 3 dragons.
Yeah, Soul Point. I mean, Dignitas, really nice kite back. The Lantern. Oh, here we go.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. There goes Cyber into the middle of the team. Short Hop's been caught out. He's been moonfallen. And Josie's going to keep himself alive, getting himself away with a flash for now. 2-1 for AoE randoms. They lose their AD carry, but they picked up Dragoon earlier. They get Cyber, who is overextended in the back line, and now they'll pull away.
Yeah, AoE randoms trying to make something out of nothing right there. They know they didn't get as much as they wanted there in the Dragon play, and they see DNA just free pushing in the mid lane, so they think they have to pull the trigger onto the turret. But I think they just needed to cut their losses and go back to base, because they're going to lose even more for it. 1-for-1 under the tower there is not worth it for them. That's all of Short Hop's summoners down, as well as Josie's that won't be available for the next Dragon fight, as well as Baron spawn. So really not coming up with it. And with that Dragon Spawn does come Dragon Soul Point. One of the reasons that we saw the game get extended so heavily last time around was from the Miracle Dragon Steel that Short Hop had, and it was the non-threat of Dragon Soul that allowed these teams to go back and forth for so long. However, for AOE randoms this time around, there is no option there. They have to get the next dragon or they will have a hard time winning this game. Regardless, they have been winning fights. They're only down 800 gold, so they have the means to do so. But with the double-aided carries and the Diana, it just goes down so quickly.
Yeah, it's basically just an afterthought, honestly, if they start that one up without any contest. And meanwhile, before we get into the action, congratulations to AOE's title roster. They have 2-0'd Supernova, so they have secured themselves a playoff position. AOE randoms looking to do the same here, but man, oh man, is this game hard for them. Dignitas Mirage are not letting this one go without a big old fight. Jimmy doing his best here in the side lane, considerably up against the Mundo, but kind of hard ever to solo kill Dr. Mundo in a side lane. And for now, the rest of the team just letting him push this one out as they are the ones circling this Baron pit.
Yep, everyone just gonna dance around. However, I don't think there's really a way that you can start Baron here if you're Dignitas. You do have very good objective damage, but the collapse from AoE randoms onto that Baron is, I mean, insane. Rumble Ultimate, you know, blocking off the entrance to the pit with Zed, Nautilus over the top is threatening. That's a catch onto
Cyber. He's gone. He's just dead. Look at the immediate burst. Josie doesn't even need the ulti, and AoE randoms are a member up.
They
no jungle
nothing.
smite. They're on the Baron.
Yeah, they burn nothing, only the depth charge, and critically, as you mentioned, Necrox, Equalizer's up. I think this is just Baron to AoE. How do you approach this if you're Dig? They're going to have Dragoon try to frontline, look for the turn.
Dragoon gonna lose his passive. Chains of Corruption do not land from Short Hop. That's a critical miss. They can't find a lockdown on Dragoon. They get his ulti, but Dignitas Mirage are the ones that control the mid wave. It is AoE randoms that now need to pull away. DNA on 2 items will do a lot of damage if he gets the champ. Pocket's a little too low for comfort, so AoE try. They do not succeed, but at least they get the pick for themselves. No Baron to be had.
What do Dignitas say to death? Not today, as they just masterfully execute the peel off the Baron, and they get away with their lives as the Chains of Corruption went wide. Extremely well done by them, and at the end of the day, the pick onto Cyber means nothing, and Dragon is up in 50 seconds. AoE will have favorable positioning over this objective, but that does not mean it is guaranteed for them. Josie now sitting on 2.5 items, Blighting Crystal in his back pocket, 10 stacks in the Dark Seal, 2 items on Chim, who is sitting on 3, 1 and 3 as well. This man is going to be insanely difficult to kill, but remember, the Dragon goes down so quickly. All it takes is one good smite from Cyber to turn this game wildly in the favor of Dignitas. Necrox, we are dead even here at Dragon Soul Point. This game is anyone's to take.
All it takes is one. It takes one member to make the difference. It takes one Dragon for Dignitas Mirage to secure Soul. It takes one ulti from Josie to turn the team fight. And it takes one macro call from Dignitas Mirage to force AoE into a bad position. Baron started up, not quite going to be committed to just quite yet. Here we go, right back on it from Cal. This Kalista with Rageblade will stack spears so quickly. And AoE randoms need to think about what's going on here.
I think they're going to try to steal it with Chim. They're collapsing now, but Josie's not here. He's their main team fighter. Chim is just going to die. There's a stopwatch to try to buy time.
Chim going golden, keeping himself alive for now, but Cyber's his way under the back line. Not going to find the AD carry just quite yet. Leo's going to be exhausted. He's going to go down. Light pulse, secure the kill. DNA hopping forward, flashing right back away. Cyber's burned down. DNA going golden. Dragoon into 1v3 in the backside of the fight. DNA is now going to die. Josie with another flame spinner. He's going to go golden one more time. Pocus is low. It does not matter. Dragoon to the front line. Triple kill to Josie. Short Hop picks up number 4. And Cal stays alive, but he's the only man standing. AoE randoms win once again. And what a team fight it is!
How did AoE manage to pull that one off? They didn't have the man, they didn't have Josie, but Short Hop stays alive against the dive from Cyber, using all the summoner spells. The kite back is there, and then the equalizer comes through. Josie just sets up a barbecue in the back line. You'd have to think they might have been able to take away the Baron, but they don't want to give up the soul, so they settle for just the Dragon. They're going to be out on the map first, and AoE randoms, just when it seems they slipped up, they win the fight anyway. Team fight execution wins games, and they are putting it on full display.
Screw public transportation. I'm riding the Josie train all the way to downtown. AOE Randoms put this man on a pedestal, and he performs. Triple kill in the team fight. So well played with a stopwatch. 10 stacked Magi's now as well. Dignitas Mirage again around the Baron Pit, come up short. AOE Randoms win a critical team fight, and now it is their vision control that matters. It is their river to own. Short Hop, Pockus, and Chim all circling this Baron, and Soul is no longer on the board for another 4 minutes.
I mean, this game is literally even. Gold is dead even. As you said, Soul's not available. It's just the Baron dance. Other than a couple towers in advantage here for the side of Dignitas and the dragons that they have, there is nothing that separates these two teams. The next team fight will be all about who plays it better. So far, we've seen AOE get the better of Dignitas in every single 5v5 so far this game, but that does not mean that the double AD carries don't have the damage to get it done. They just have to find their window. No more stopwatch available on Chim. Does matter. That was just absolutely monumental in that last fight. But, I mean, let's take stock of the items. 2.5 on Chim. 2.5 with the Magi's completed here on Josie. 2 completed items on Leo. 2.5 for the side of Short Hop. Likewise, this opposite number. 2.5 items. 2 items on DNA. 2.5 items on Cyber. 2.5 on Dragoon. It is dead even here.
It is all dead even, neck and neck. AOE Randoms and Dignitas Mirage. These two teams, it all comes down to the late game execution. AOE Randoms have just 1 turret down so far, looking to make it 2 here with this mid lane outer. Should be able to grab this one as long as they want it. Instead, actually, they'll pull away, opt for a reset. Or at least hovering now. DNA doing a good job of clearing that one away. Dignitas Mirage certainly have structure lead, but they do not have the kills to match, but they do have objectives. One more Drake in 2.5 minutes could determine this entire game. You could only imagine Soul is enough to tip the scales in Dig's favor.
Yeah, for sure. But it's worth noting, though, the pace of the game has slowed down dramatically now with no Dragon just free to take for these teams. No easy outer turrets available either. They don't want to commit too many resources down to the bottom side for fear of losing their mid lane turret, does Dignitas. So with the pace of the game slowing down, I actually think AOE Randoms has a better late game scaling composition than a more mid game focused team for the side of Dignitas, you know, with this Kalista, with this Diana. And although their scaling is definitely very good due to DNA there in the mid lane, I think, you know, this Varus and this Rumble will make the difference just a bit more. So as the pace of the game slows down and as it goes later, I have to imagine, especially with how we've seen Randoms execute on these team fights, that the scales will ever so slightly tip in their favor.
Waiting for this next objective, 90 seconds, AOE 5-man strong in the mid lane. At this point, man, it doesn't matter about side waves. It doesn't matter about playing better macro. 1 engage from Pockus, 1 hook from Light Pulse. Cyber with a nice flash ulti could completely determine this series. Turret gonna finally go down. AOE Randoms able to pick that one up. 60 seconds now on the clock. AOE Randoms, yeah, that's a taste of the damage, by the way, from Short Hop, as DNA probably have to channel a recall with the rest of his team, as Baron Vision is actually going to be the name here for AOE Randoms. As they start this one up.
There's a river ward. They know. Look at that ward. There's 1 ward there for Dignitas. They see this happening. They're going to be able to push up mid lane to try to collapse on it. Baron down to 9,000 TPs available on Dragoon. It's going to be the 5v5. Pockets and Death Rush. Watch for the hook.
Watch for Pockus turning, but so far AOE still finishing. There's not an easy seal option without Cyber anywhere near. Maybe over the wall. It's going to be secured by Josie. Now AOE Randoms looking for the team fight. Pockus is going to be the first one to fall, but DNA's one shot. They got the Tristan and now looking for the fight. Equalizer across everyone, and it's Flame City for Josie. He's going forward now, going golden, but Cow is still alive. Hopping around with a Marshall pose. Nice 3-man play from Light Pulse, but he's going to be burned down. Finally, now flash over the wall from Chibi, feasting on the members of AOE Randoms, but it's only him left alive. The 1-man standing with Baron, Cyber, and Dragoon never fell, and Infernal Soul should be an afterthought. Dignitas Mirage, he's TPing right back in though.
He has TP, he's gonna try to steal the Baron. AOE Randoms, they tried to win the game right there in front of the Baron pit. Instead, they get wiped. Chim trying to save the Soul, he's just gonna get burned down. I think it might be a throw. They had it. They could have just backed off, but no. Chim goes down. Leo is up. Pacus is up, but I don't think it's enough. Dragon Soul into the back pocket of Dignitas Mirage. AOE randoms. No more Baron buffs. Is this what Dignitas needs to close out the game?
Infernal Soul to Dignitas Mirage, and Chim, the only one standing with Baron, has now fallen. AOE randoms have a dead even gold state, but they are losing for sure. Turrets, not in their favor. Infernal Soul, not in their favor. And momentum, more important than everything, now in the favor of Dignitas Mirage. AOE randoms need heroics. They need someone to step up and change the tides of this game if they want to see playoffs in Risen.
Yeah, I mean, now, more than ever, you just got to out-execute in team fights here if you're AOE. You don't have item advantages. You don't have anything except for your own sheer mechanics, because with that Infernal Soul, it's definitely the great equalizer, I would have to say, contrary to Rumble's ultimate there on Josie. But, I mean, they got the Baron, and Pacus was throwing away his life, basically, to let his team get away, but instead, they tried to win the game right there in one play. They wanted to take the fight, but Cal kited perfectly to stay out of arm's reach, and Cyber, likewise, with a massive Diana ult. It didn't matter that DNA went down. They still had one more AD carry left to carry the game, and that results in the Infernal Soul and the pressure going right back their way. And although they get the gold from the Baron, they get nothing else, as another turret going the way of Dignitas Mirage.
They open up bot lane now. Only inner turret standing is top lane, but that's not very healthy either. Stiff Breeze would blow that one away. Equalizer used, but it doesn't catch anyone. Everyone able to walk away from that one from Dignitas Mirage. Josie fishing for maybe a delayed recall or something, but Dignitas Mirage are aware of that effort and will escape with no problem. Out DNA headed up topside to clear out the wave that Leo had pushed in, and we're straight back to neutral. AOE randoms still have potential to outplay this Infernal Soul, but with critical itemization coming through, QSS on Cow with a Guardian Angel on DNA, it's no longer easy to take out this double 80 carry composition.
I actually think QSS is a little suspect here from Cal. The only thing you're cleansing is that Varus ultimate, which at this point in the game, if you're getting hit by that, then there are bigger problems, I think, than the QSS. But, you know, I mean, that's a pretty critical positional error, I'd have to say, if that comes through. But regardless, he does have the get out of jail free card for that one. But, I mean, gold, dead even. It's the Infernal Soul that separates these teams. There's nothing else to be said. And Elder Dragon now, we have to start looking towards that. 3.5 minutes away. Baron, 2 minutes away. There will be desync timers, which means there won't potentially be a trade of objectives. But, I mean, Elder Dragon could be the ultimate comeback mechanic here for AoE randoms, but likewise, it could be the finisher for Dignitas Mirage. It just depends on who's able to secure that one. Top wave now getting pushed in. Dignitas wants their 6th turret of the game, and with Josie down on the bottom side, you'd have to think that one's going to go over.
Only a Chim now. Finally, Short Hop able and arriving to defend this one. Last
Chim
minion.
is so
but
tanky.
yeah, look at the damage on that turret. And Chim doesn't care about your damage for now. The Ren eventually will stack up, but Dragoon and team making sure this one is all theirs. Pacus with a flash away, forced Dragoon. Taking a little bit of damage off the back end of Chim as well, but that is the last turret outside the base from AoE. Random,
Cyber?
what a play over the wall! They pick out Cyber, and with a minute left on Baron, that could be massive, but we're in a pause. And I think I saw Cyber, desync, and that might not be good for this game.
I mean, that is...
Oh, no.
That is game-changing right there. I mean, yeah. The Varus arrow hits, so they know he's there, and then they try to blindly throw out the Rumble ultimate to try to, you know, potentially catch him chasing away. But, of course, you can't because you're disconnected. So, I mean, the big carry here for Dignitas is down for 50 seconds. I don't truly know what there is to do here in terms of, you know, it's not the LCS. There's no chrono break mechanic here. So hopefully Dignitas can fight back from this one. You really hate to see it in an elimination game. We'll try to get any information that we can as fast as possible, but we hope that Cyber's able to come back soon.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that something is resolved here, because that certainly could be a game deciding pick. I was wondering why he was just standing still over the wall, and yeah, I think it was a disconnect. We'll again keep you updated as we go through, but that pick is massive for AOE. As I was saying before we got into the pause, minute on the Baron and 50 seconds on your jungler means priorities all AOEs, and that can turn a fight. If you don't have vision to step up for Dignitas and Mirage, then it's so much harder to get in. Hopefully we'll keep you updated for now. And yeah, I don't think we have any updates. Teams trying to work through as best as they can what the solution may be. Fuck, this could get so interesting. I'm going to say this. I hope I don't jinx it. There may be an entire remake. Let's hope not.
So, okay, so it seems that Cyber has reconnected, and it appears that Dignitas is ready, and the side of AOE has called for time real quick, so I think we should be getting back underway in the next minute or two. Well, I would have to imagine they want to make sure Cyber's internet connection is stable. And here we are. We're back underway, so It is a game-changing pick. It is worth noting, I'm not convinced that Cyber would have gotten away even without the disconnect, because he was standing in a Rumble Ultimate. He would have been slowed had he been trying to walk out while burning down. So it could have potentially started a larger team fight or just been a pick regardless. So we'll have to see what ends up happening as my game has frozen. I'm not sure if that is the same for everyone else.
Yeah, it's probably because of the pause. There we go. Straight back into it. Everyone still should be just fine. AOE randoms after the pause. Quick update. Now have an extra bit of gold that was passed on over to Josie, I believe. He was the one to pick up
shutdown,
that kill.
I believe.
Yeah, a lot of gold on the Rumble, and we've been talking about the equalizer impact all game. Leo thinking about doing something fancy, but with Light Pulse in the area should not commit all the way. And yeah, AOE random still have a death timer on Dignitas Mirage's jungler, so this is their time to move into this Baron pit.
Yeah, so it looks like what this pick is going to end up meaning is free Baron setup here for AOE randoms, as well as a lot of gold in shutdowns going over to, I believe it was Josie that was able to pick that one up, if I'm not mistaken. So it is, an advantage, but regardless, the game is at where it's at, and the team fight is imminent. I mean, at this point, gold hardly matters, and you've got the Dr. Mundo to face check in. So Dignitas, can you execute on this fight? AOE randoms, can you execute on this fight? Light Pulse getting chucked down by 25% of his health by one Varus arrow. Infernal Soul on these cleavers going to hurt. Dragoon just walking it down mid.
He does not care. Mundo goes where he pleases. Leo throws a couple shurikens in as well. But Dignitas Mirage had the wave control earlier. They will continue that trend in pushing this mid wave. Straight back to neutral. 5 members strong from Dignitas Mirage in mid.
45.
One more arrow onto DNA through that Guardian Angel. Will take him down to 3/4. Lantern there just for safety for Dragoon. Another chunk onto one. Pockets going forward with There's a chance of corruption onto Dragoon, but he's too tanky. That's not the member that you want. But already a quarter off cooldown for AOE randoms short hop, so they don't care. Just taking chunks is all they care about.
Yeah, but this is where it gets interesting. Now Elder's so close to spawning that you actually have to make a choice. If you start Baron, you might give away Elder. The neutral objective damage by AOE is not that good. I mean, it's a lethality. Varus Rumble does it pretty well. Zed and Cho'Gath, not really. They've got great secure, and although they do it relatively fast, it's not as fast as the side of Dignitas. So a trade of objectives likely favors Dignitas. It looks like AOE is going to try to transition their pressure down here towards the bottom side while they push into the mid lane. Maybe collapse here into this Raptor pit, but if you fight in a choke point, it has to favor AOE. Elder Dragon has been started with the shove on the waves.
Here we go. AOE random starting this one up. Cyber is just around. He's just nearly able to secure this one. 4,000 on the Elder for now. Cyber in the area. Hook's going to find it, but Pockets returns it. There, Cyber goes into the back line, but Members are going to go golden. He's dead immediately. Chibi feasts on him. Dragoon is now in a 1v4. He's burned down as well.
Josie
the Wind may be able to steal it, but is he a hero? Can Cow do it? Leo's got one. Short Hop's got two. Double kill. AOE randoms are winning the team fight, baby. And Elder secured. Pockets will go down. Cow in a 1v1, but I'm not sure he can run away from the Cho'Gath. Man, this guy is big. Rend used for the slow. Hopping away with a Pierce. Now using the Krugs to run. But AOE randoms do not care about this AD carry. They care about the mid lane.
They're just trying to stop his back. Chim can basically just chase it forever. They're going to push down mid. I don't think they can end the game. The death timers are too short. 15 seconds on Cyber, 25 seconds on everybody else. They're gonna kite back to Baron and secure this one. It's double neutral objective buffs in the back pocket AoE randoms. It's a 3-minute power play, but they critically, Dignitas holds onto their base. Their base turrets are still available, which forces AoE randoms to still set up a siege. Their members are back up. Will they try to contest?
Good God, these two teams are back and forth. Hawk, Dignitas, Mirage having a banger of a game 2. AoE barely squeaking out a win in game 1. And here in game 3, what else except for one fight, one opportunity, one mistake from Cyber going too far onto the back line. He's immediately deleted and AoE punished. Dragoon falls. He had no flash from Champ Select and he can't get away. Now AoE with double super buffs despite the Infernal Soul. Now look to put a finishing touch to this series, look to punch their ticket to playoffs, and look to put Dignitas Mirage down for the final time.
Yeah, Pakas has flash. I mean, Cho'Gath can tank up these turrets forever, and it's a free engage. You just need to get the flash depth charge onto a critical member. Look for Cow or Cyber. They're gonna try to knock down this turret. Mid lane is gone. Dignitas just has to try to stop the bleeding for long enough, but their mid laner is still top. He's recalling now. But for the fight, they're just gonna try to end. They're not pushing side lanes.
Cow barely avoiding the hook, but here comes the Equalizer. He's burning so low. Shield can be popped arrow, not able to find it, but Cow's in base. Light pulse, hits only immediate, not able to find the engage. Chim is very low. He's running low on HP, has to walk away. Not able to find very much for AoE randoms. They're forced out of the base. Elder's going to expire pretty soon. And AoE randoms don't find enough. Only one inhibitor. Baron's still alive for a little bit longer, but here comes the TP from Chimmy. They want one more effort.
2 arrows just almost killed DNA. They forced out the Lantern Shield to keep him alive. Look at that damage on a Dragoon. Another minion wave. Dignitas has to pull the trigger. Elder Drag, I believe, is gone.
Chain of Corruption doesn't find much. Equalizer zoning off the team.
Down.
Dragoon is the first to fall, and Short Hop finds it. Light Pulse into the back line. Can't do anything. He's going to be burned down. Cyber gets no damage in the team fight. AoE randoms clean up 4. And AoE randoms will take down Dignitas Mirage in game 3 and move themselves to quarterfinals.
What a series! AoE in 2 absolutely nail-biting games, manages to find victories, shaking off a crushing defeat in between. The mental fortitude to fall behind like this and to keep on fighting. The execution in these team fights was absolutely immaculate. I said Josie was getting outplayed by his opposite number in the first 2 games. Here in game number 3, 14-3 on the Rumble, puts the team on his back, does the damage here. What a series.
I'll say it again. I said it once in game 1. Holy shit, this team wanted to win the game. AoE randoms from disaster in game 2. I don't know how you can come back from a deficit like that after it just tragedy. Losing so hard in 23 minutes. Mental fortitude, strength from their coach, giving them the mental buff they need to pull out game 3. Everything comes down to execution. Yes, if you're Dignitas Mirage, you can look back at that series and notice mistakes here and there. But if you're AoE randoms, you gotta be happy coming out of this series with a win. Yes, it was close. Yes, it was scrappy. Sure, there were mistakes. But at the end of the day, a W is a W, Hawk. And they took the win.
I mean, it was just absolutely insane. And I mean, these fights were so close. To the last 2 fights, the one around Elder and then the one in the base. Cyber got one shot before his ultimate, the second part of it could go off and do all the damage. I mean, look at how low AoE's health bars were in that last fight. If that ult goes off, it could be game-changing. He got 3 or 4 members with it. It's a game of inches. It's a game of such slim margins. And AoE coming out ahead. And looking at this damage graph, Short Hop, again, most damage on his team, 35,000 damage coming out from this Varus. That's the highest in the game. The poke damage that he was able to apply, the zoning from the Chain of Corruptions. He's not just an Ezreal one-trick. He's getting it done here on the Varus too. Just an absolutely incredible performance from him. Every single player having their ups and downs in this series, taking their turns, putting their teams on their back, making the plays that they need to win the game.
Damn straight. Everyone on AoE randoms showed up tonight. Chim critical ultis in those final fights, keeping himself alive and the team in the game at moments when needed. Josie, massive performance with big equalizers in game 3. Short hop, consistent as ever. This guy just does not lose games, I tell you. And Pockets on the Nautilus, such confidence to go forward. Even when the only member in front of you is a Dr. Mundo, he still has the confidence to go forward, throw down the hook, be the member to make that call. Everyone, Leo on these carries just looks so good. Everything you forgot, everything you thought about AOE randoms, throw it out the window. This team is new, revived, and they're looking damn good going into Risen playoffs. I think we do have an interview coming up here, Hawk. I'm not sure who it's going to be just quite yet. Man, I'm excited, but we got to give him a minute. I mean, I'm shaking after that game. I'm sure they're going wild.
I mean, there's, as we cool down from this game, AOE, I think all that can be said about them is that they have so much faith in each other to play correctly when it matters most. It doesn't matter if they're not the cleanest team. It doesn't matter, what they do right or wrong, because every single time you see this team fight, especially in these late game team fights, these game-changing late game team fights, you can see the trust that every single member has in each other to make plays, execute it together as a team, because at the end of the day, the play that you make together as a team is the one that wins you the most games.
All right, well, it's just about that time. We have an interview, Hawk, with 2 members from AOE Randoms. First, thank you both for joining us. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourselves, because I don't think there's an introduction that fits better than this.
I am Short Hop. You've interviewed me a few times on AOE Discord, but none of my other players want to come, so I'm here. So I hope you enjoy my presence. And we have Nick.
Yeah, I'm Nick, Inconspicuous or Incon, the coach that just had to watch those series and games along with all of you, so I think my heart rate is probably beating as fast as yours are.
Man, what a series, guys. Like, first of all, congratulations. Honestly, yes, it was close, but those late game fights, man, you guys just executed better. First question to you both, if you both would take the time and answer. Obviously, you now have a spot in quarterfinals with this win. How does it feel to have both AOE teams now going into playoffs and Risen, brethren among brethren in the same group? Both of you get out.
Nick, you can go first. I'll go second.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, right, so a lot of my former players are in AOE main, and I wish them the best. It was a very close series, and we almost knocked them out of playoff contention last week, but we lost, and then we came in this series and had a pretty bad showing, so I think we have a lot to improve on in 24 hours before we can consider ourselves a playoff-ready team. But I wish the best to AOE main, and I think that we have to kick our asses in gear, and we have very limited time, and hopefully we can show up better tomorrow than we did today, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I strongly agree with what he said. Happy to be in quarters, but we are limping across the finish line, per se. That was a really ugly showing. None of us, we're happy about the win, but we're not happy about the way we got the win. And, as Nick said, we got to turn it around for tomorrow. And we just had one of those days. So we'll do our best, but we're looking forward to hopefully seeing our sister team in the finals. That'd be exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, man, it's amazing hearing that you guys come in and immediately looking to improve. I mean, that's what makes teams great, I feel like. And I feel like sticking to sort of the positive takeaways from today, you guys did manage to find this win incredibly well. And I'm interested actually in when you guys are in this intense Game 3 situation and you're looking at what play to make when a play can win or lose you the game. What is the focus like in your guys' comms? Who's making those calls? And I mean, where is the trust being put that you guys are always going to work together as a team and make incredibly cohesive plays?
This game specifically, in the late game, it was a lot of me just telling us all to breathe, because we had a lot of poke that we needed to use, and we we're doing the thing where we just constantly were trying to accelerate and accelerate. And I said, no, let's just breathe. Let's ARAM it. And we ARAM'd for like 6 minutes and we just breathed and we poked. And it was a great time for us and a terrible time for Dignitas because they couldn't do anything. So we just poked and we tried taking it easy. And Pockets and Chim called a lot of the team fight stuff later on. And they really, Chim was just saying I could tank their whole front line, and he could. So we focused Diana because there was only AP damage, and Cho'Gath was just a brick wall. So we sort of just played slowly off that, even though they had Infernal Soul. We just breathed and tried to take it slow when we were in that kind of intense spot.
Yeah, and then I want to really focus on a word on there. You mentioned trust, and I think the one thing that AOE Randoms does a really good job of is we are friends first, where we just get along really well with each other, right? We'll stay up with each other late at night, talk to each other, try and support each other as best as we can. And I think that because of that emotional bond that we have with each other, where we're a very close-knit group of people and we're largely jokes, is usually what we say, that in-game, right, if someone says that they're going to go for something, they're going to look for something, we trust their opinion, and we're just going to play around it. And I think that I really respect the players in that regard because I know, obviously, right, spectating the game from my perspective and even casting the game from your guys' perspective, that our hearts are beating, so the players have, double, triple the stress. And I think I think it's really the teamwork and the friendship bond that we have is what gets us through a lot of these games that look really bleak, if we're being honest. And I think that can't be understated. So, really want to highlight
Power
that.
Power of friendship, man. It never loses. And I'm actually glad you brought up that moment where in this series, it was looking pretty bleak, because that is what I wanted to ask you guys about next. Obviously, game one, nail biter. I was losing my mind. Everyone was losing their minds. I'm sure the players were losing it as well. Barely squeaking out a win there. I'm sure you guys happy, of course, to get a win, but certainly could be cleaner. In game two, I don't need to remind you of what happened. That was not great stuff. How does a team recover and then go into another nail biter game? What is the talk like between games? What does it sound like there for everyone in comms after a really rough mid series?
Yeah, Nick can talk to this too, I'm sure. But between games 2 and 3, we were quite down, quite sad. Just in general, we just kind of had an off day. We just had one of those days where just stuff doesn't feel right across the board, right? Happens to everybody, I think, but today was definitely that day for us. And Nick basically said, "Can we stop being so depressed?" And then I was like, "Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We should stop being so depressed." Because it was one of those things that he says in the context, like just in general, like just one of the funny things we say as friends. And then I smiled and I'm like, "Let's perk up. Let's try to bring it back." And then I tried to bring everybody up, and I went from top to bot. Let's talk. Let's bring the energy up. We have to do it, or else we're going to regret it if we stick to the way we want to feel right now. And it's hard when you're like in that slump, because for me, I inted the hell out of game 2. Game 2 is like basically completely my bad. My comms were terrible and everything. I knew I needed to pick it up for game 3, and I knew that I needed to try to bring my team up between games 2 and 3. So I did everything I could to try to rectify the game 2 performance. And team showed up really strong in this game as a result of that. And Nick, I mean, I just said a lot, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I think like my job as a coach is like in between games, I kind of need to be the icebreaker. And I think that it's really important for your role to be able to mentally remove your players' minds from game 2, because if their minds are still in game 2, they're going to be shackled and they won't perform game 3, right? So my job is just, I have to get in there and break the ice as fast as possible, try and remove any mention of the game that just occurred, and then have us move our game plan onto game 3. One thing I do want to highlight again is I think my players did a good job. I think I was illy prepared to draft against the Dignitas, and I apologize to them. I forgot that Mundo would be such a large problem, and I messed up draft game 1, and I tried to make adjustments into games 2 and 3, and I think we found an answer into it, but I definitely apologize to the players for not being properly prepared for that. So the players did a really good job of kind of accepting what was given to them and then going in and performing. So
Nick,
really well done on their part.
Nick, game 2, you could have drafted Faker and we would have probably just lost anyways. It's fine, brother. Don't bring yourself down that bad. We just had a bad game. That's life. It's a collective team thing. Don't bring yourself down like that.
Oh man, you love
See, that's the kind of environment, man, that I feel like makes you guys successful. You talked about it already, the trust. And all I think the rest of us want to hear is, what's your hot take for when inevitably AOE randoms and AOE esports meet in the finals? Where's the trash talk here?
Hot take is, if you watch the AOE randoms versus AOE main that happened last week,
Close.
close, but the funny running joke between us when we scrim is that I will not go shield bow rapid fire cannon on Caitlyn and do 0 damage, and then we'll just win next time. So that's the running joke between us right now. It should be a banger. Looking forward to seeing them. But realistically, that's way too far ahead. We got a match tomorrow against Maryville, and I think it's Maryville. And then if we look too far forward, we're going to look worse than today. So focus on tomorrow.
If my team don't go to Ultimate Bravery and have a field day on that website, I think we stand a chance.
I love it.
All memes aside, we're obviously 1-1 in the Civil War. I think either team has a good read on each other. According to some players on AOE main team, we're filthy cheesers that can't play the game properly, but I think it's a misunderstanding. And I think that we find really good windows to punish teams in. And I think that we will try and do that tomorrow and into the next games against each other. So I think the hot take, if you want it, is we can go very easily into the finals. And I wouldn't be surprised by it. And I think we needed this game to kick ourselves in the ass. And I think it'll act as such. And I think the team that we play against tomorrow should be scared.
Oh,
I love it. I love the banter between you two in particularly, just because players, it's draft if we can't do anything, even if you drafted, and then my players don't know how to build, and then it's ultimate bravery. I'm just messing with you guys. Final question though, for you both. Any shout outs, anything you'd like to say, whether it's maybe Dignitas Mirage fans in chat that we're hoping you guys would lose out on the night, or the fans obviously that were cheering you guys all along.
I mean, big shout outs, I have to say, to Dignitas Mirage. They obviously had an unfortunate disconnect that I feel like threw a lot of momentum in our favor, but that's the nature of how some of these tournaments go. So we take it in stride, but they're a fantastic team. Same with all the other teams in our group. And I love competing against them, and I hope they keep competing because I think they're great players as well as all of my team. So that's
I'm going to highlight a couple of the staff and players on that team. I'm close friends with Deos and Dragoon. Unfortunately, I think a lot of friends in my groups, and I'm always sad to have to go against people that I look up to highly. I'm sorry these games went the way they did. I apologize for the DC. I think that their team has shown immense improvement from last tournament to this one, and I think they are something to be feared going into next tournament. And then I want to highlight the players. We have Chim in the top lane, who's a flexible person. He has very high-spirited comms and is an amazing person. We have Josie, who is a little bit more quiet, but makes calls when he needs to and just helps aid the lanes. We have Leo99, who a lot of people probably didn't know about coming into this amateur season, who's shown up and been an amazing player, and I think has been a real asset to our team. We obviously have Short Hop, who likes to, play Build-A-Bear in the workshop, but, performs mechanically and has hands. And then we have Pockets, who just makes very good calls throughout the early and mid game. And overall, as a team, I think we're very good. And I also want to shout out Comp9, right? He's still our sub. That guy is a homie. I love him from the little conversations I've had with him, and he's really chill dude. And everyone else in the AOE org. Kobe, our manager, does an amazing job. Super cool dude. And then, most important, Riley, the best team owner I think I've ever had. I love talking to him. Really cool guy.
Shout out Nick. Shout out Nick. I gotta jump in here. Shout out Nick for drafting well in class. That's all.
Yeah, I did have a class today from 6 to 8:50. So
that's my boy.
Wow.
That's my boy. He pulls
power
off.
move.
Doing two assignments at once.
Yeah, it looked like it in draft too. Fuck. Build-A-Bear that a little bit too. No, bud. But yeah,
no worries, man.
Thanks.
Really, just shout out everyone. you know, like Power Rangers, how they're all kind of like separate little individuals and they come together in the big like little monster battle in the little suit. That's us. We're also Exodia at the end of the day.
AOE randoms, the Power Rangers have risen. I love to hear it, man. Thank you both so much for an amazing interview. Honestly, super wholehearted as well. I appreciate you guys taking your time to sit down with us. Again, congratulations. Certainly things to work on, but I'm so excited to watch where you guys go. Got to see you guys at the beginning. Looked amazing. Still look amazing now. Man, you guys are so much fun to watch. Again, thank you so much.
Oh, sorry. 2 more people I want to shout out. Necrox and Hawk. Everyone was gassing you guys up in the comments. I didn't listen to the cast because I was trying to be a little bit more focused. I look forward to going back and listening to you guys. Congratulations. Thank you for casting the game. You guys make games a lot more entertaining. Thank you for taking your time out of the day. I look forward to what you guys continue doing in the future. So
thank you.
It wasn't us that made it entertaining. Honestly, Short Hop, you were like half the reason that game was entertaining. Those were like just incredible games. Again, thank you all so much for taking the time to sit down with us. Go celebrate your wins.
Thanks. Have a lovely night, guys. Thank you.
Yep, have a good night.
Good night.
Good hearing from those two, Hawk. Man, humble as ever, but they got a lot of work ahead of them for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that drive that they had immediately coming in and saying that they had a lot of work on, talking about the trust that their team has in each other, it shows on the Rift, and they said they're going to make finals easy. I look forward to seeing it because we have seen this team surprise people over and over and over again, and I think the sky's the limit.
Honestly, I think anything that AOE randoms put their minds to and they really dedicate themselves to, as long as they build correctly, as long as they draft outside of class, they've got it within their control. Thank you so much for joining me on the desk, Hawk. My own shout out to Benjamin's, our producer for the evening. Excellent work tonight, friend. Just don't go watch that one Baron fight and everything looks so beautifully smooth. Thank you for AOE for having us on tonight. We'll see you all next time, and good luck to AOE as they continue to prove they are such an amazing organization. We'll see you next time. See you soon.
What are you willing to lose? You cover your wounds.
One more hook forward from Skytech. Won't be able to find the mark. Now it's Leo99 trying to make the play all by himself. No support. Finally, the jungler's going to arrive. Josie's here. Has the lilting lullaby. One more crash down. Watch down. Eve, and the blows will find it. Flashing for the final auto onto Skytech, who will burn down to the grave. Leo looking for the dive onto the turret. The flash away. Going in. Perry's already going to go down, but so is Pockets. It's a 1-for-1 so far, but Josie has the shield. Look at the flash over the wall from Leo. He gets everyone in it. Double kill already to Josie. And Porsche is not long for the world. Meslo's going to drop as well. One more room, one more auto from Short Hop. And the shutdown goes his way. Hawk is trying to force the issue though before you can settle in, before you can take a breath, and here comes Shim as well with Paranoia trying to flash away. Can he get himself out to safety? Massive knock up onto everyone from Skytech, but one more to be returned. This one's even better from Leo. It's got AP ratios, and he's just gonna rinse this fight. They're gonna turn this thing around. Evil Genius with Prodigy have gonna get wiped away.
I think so far it's been just fight. Onto the Ezreal. He's gotten up pretty hard by this. The damage is definitely there. And Josie is flashing on top of Leona, already gone. Josie has to go golden here, but it's just going to be the acceleration gate, the shock blast. That's an ace, a triple kill going over the lead.
Stop now. Well, let him swallow the pride. You're turning the tide.
And open arms. And here comes a re-engage coming on through. Nice stuff coming in. Beautiful work from Pockets. Just null and void everything they wanted to do, and that is an easy 2 kills secured by AOE Random.
Dragons gets started here, and Shim ends up starting the fight as well. Only finds the single knockup, but RBM gets burst down before the equalizer can even come out. But Azanya's forced as well. It is all up to Jarquins with the death mark to find a single kill, but he just can't do it as Josie takes him down. Gets straight and focused as well. As the only member left alive is forced to run a triple kill. Goes it to Short Hop here, and Shim ends up playing cleanup crew to finish off the ace, to finish off the soul, and turn AOE Random size on Baron. Divine engagement. Josie, I guess, is going to go for the flash steal, and they're going for it. It finds it as well. AOE Friend, they keep themselves in the game on the back of their jungler. And never more so evident than it is around this Baron. Or sorry, around this turret. As Hook comes in from Pocus, the equalizer is big from the back line. We have Short Hop able to survive and even take down RBM. It's 2 hits. We're trying to make it 3 though as Jim goes forward. Josie needs to find the slows here. Faisal trying desperately to get out, should be caught. It's just a slow chase down, a slow bleed out as AOE get caught overextended once more.
Keep your eyes out for AOE randoms because they don't care where you come from. They don't care about your backstory. They want you and they want your nexus.